If you're a fan of killer ghosts, gyms, and spandex, then this is the movie for you. We watched Death Spa. We watched it so you don't have to, so you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad and scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad and scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
Greetings, Moon Goons. Welcome to the next episode of Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Marshall Hampton. With me today, co-host Mr. Aaron Southworth.
So tired. Been working so hard trying to get fit, but this movie's worn me out.
And joining us today is friend of the show, recurring guest, Miss Sarah Samples.
Hello everyone.
She is back. We are doing the
So
movie
excited.
Death Spa. Because, you know, it's that time of the year. Spring's pretty much over. Summer's here. It's time to get that summer body
Gotta
ready
get
to
your
go.
beach body.
So we dove into this one. Before we jump into the movie, I do have a little bit of horror movie news to announce. Now, many of you may have already heard this, but since we are a weekly show, you know, we've found out before. There is a new Halloween reboot, or it's coming. I believe it's a reboot, but coming in 2017. And John Carpenter is actually, I think, attaches. I don't know if he's writing it himself or if he's
Producing
going to
it,
be
I
producing or
think.
directing it. But he is part of the new Halloween coming in 2017. So I am psyched about that.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this too. I mean, it's also glad to see John Carpenter doing something again. It seems like he did the movie The Ward, I think.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it was okay. It was, but he hasn't done anything that's really struck my fancy anytime soon. But I'm excited.
So, with that announced, let's move on to the movie. Let's get our little, house cleaning done. I don't know if you guys looked this up or not, but if you didn't know, this movie is obviously the 80s, but what do you take a guess of what part of the 80s you think this movie was done in?
From what I saw, it seems like that really awkward transition from 80s to 90s.
Yes.
Like it seems like it's late 80s, early 90s kind of going. And it's got Kim Cattrall in it. So this is like when she did, like after she did Mannequin and before she did Sex in the City.
Kim Cattrall's not in this movie.
You got to be fucking kidding me.
She's not in this
Because
movie.
that is some.
Are you talking about the one the gal that plays Laura?
Yeah, the one that was
Or
blind.
no, the gal that plays
the one who got blinded.
Laura?
That's Laura. That's not
I don't think
Kim
that's Kim
Cattrall.
Cattrall.
Oh, yes, it is. It's
No, it's
gotta
not.
be.
It is not.
Oh, no.
Then
Her
she
name
must
is-
not have put her name on it because, goddamn, that's her.
It's not her. I guarantee you it's not her.
Do you feel like all women in the 80s try to emanate each other? Like they all tried to look like, after movies like that came out, everyone tried to look like Kim Cattrall and everyone tried to look like
Maybe.
the mannequin and like certain things. I think a lot of actresses
I think
did.
it's just that 80s look. A lot of it was very similar. I don't know. But I think
I mean, don't
It
people
was
kinda-
everything wonderful in 80s. It was everything for
But
that.
back to
for
your
me.
original question, I'm gonna say late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
It seemed like that awkward transition from 80s to 90s.
Well,
I agree.
You're actually surprised me, right? Because when I first saw it, I was like, this. To me, it screamed like 86. But
I'm thinking like 89 to 92.
Yeah, it was actually released in October of 1990.
Okay.
But it was. I think they started filming in like 86.
But you could see it's that awkward transition of like you're getting out of the 80s, the Reagan era's done, we're
The
moving
fashion.
on.
Oh my
Oh
God.
God,
yeah.
The
we will talk
fashion.
plenty about the.
There's
Oh.
such a confusion there.
Oh, so many shoulder pads and
Yes, lots of
God.
shoulder pads. You can
hairy chests.
oh,
You can find the movie
Mustaches.
on Amazon for streaming. It's an hour and 28 minutes. And it's written by James Bartoff and Mitch Paradise, and directed by Michael Fisher. I probably butchered his name, but it's a foreign guy.
Paradise. I wish that was my name.
Mitch Paradise.
Pretty badass name.
The cast for the movies we do on the show, this cast is actually surprisingly well, I I guess, verse, we'll say. I mean,
Yeah,
Kim
there's
Cattrall-
a
credits.
Kim
lot of-
Cattrall's in it.
It's not Kim Cattrall.
Jesus Christ.
Jeez. You know what? Let's cover that right now. Laura, who you are so upset, is played by Brenda Backey. It's not Kim Cattrall.
AKA
Yeah, that
Kim
must
Cattrall.
be AKA. Yeah,
It's not.
Maybe
Oh my
she's a
God.
stunt
Stage
double.
name.
Stop it. She did.
We don't see
65
her
credits.
eyes half the time, so I don't know.
That's a good point.
Brenda Backey was also in Hot Shots Part 2, L.A. Confidential,
Oh.
Under Siege 2, and Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, along with like 64 or 61 other
Who is this
credits.
guy?
for- Brenda Backey. Okay, or Bakke.
Kim Cattrall. Okay.
Whatever. And then like we got like other people with like 63, 28 credits, 60, 36, 109, 131, 70s, 62. And so the people in this cast have done a lot of things compared to most of the movies we've done on here.
Well, of course, the black guy. We all know him from
The black guy, Ken Foree, he's
horror movie.
horror movie guy.
Yeah.
He was 109 credits. He was in the original Dawn of the Dead in
Probably
1978.
most famous and
Yeah.
recognizable for that.
He was in the Dawn of the Dead, the remake in 2004. He was in the Devil's Rejects, and he was in the Halloween remake with Rob Zombie, where he played Big Joe Grizzly, who was the one Michael killed at the truck stop in the bathroom.
Tons of horror.
So a lot of stuff there.
He's one of my favorite characters, by the
yeah,
way.
he's
Marvin,
pretty awesome.
yeah.
Marvin.
The other person I will that we'll mention is the guy who played David, Merritt Buttrick. It's spelled Buttrick, so I don't know how it says.
Let's go with it. Let's go with it.
That's a name I don't want.
He
Butt trick.
Yeah. He's actually probably most famous for, especially for sci-fi people, because he played Captain Kirk's son in
Yeah.
Star Trek 2 and 3.
He played David.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he was David. Yeah, he has a
You're
lot of
right.
great credits. He was also in Star Trek Next Generation.
He was in.
Not that I like Trekkie stuff, but I'm just saying.
He
Sure
was
about
also-
that? I think we might find a little secret.
Yeah, I was
Trekkie
like,
here.
oh my god, Wrath. Okay.
He was also in Fright Night 2, so another horror connection.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the best IMDb picture I have ever seen for somebody.
I gotta
Yep.
check this out.
You have to go look him up.
Just-
He's wearing this goofy shirt, and he's got sunglasses on top of his head, which is tilted down and to the side with his mouth open, and he's got this rat tail
Okay.
hanging
yeah.
over his shoulder with two tiny babies tied to the end of it as a bow.
What?
It is the best IMDb picture ever. Go look him up.
I'm glad you just validated that for me because I thought I was crazy. Because I was looking at it, I was like, that's not what that is. Like, did I just make that up after
Wait,
watching this crazy?
Stop. Babies
Yes.
hanging
Like
from
little
a
babies,
hanging from a rat tail?
Yes.
sweet babies.
Whoa.
It's amazing.
All right, we got to put this on our Facebook page or something.
We'll do
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then the other person that has somewhat fame is Tane McClure, who plays Vicky. She was in Legally Blonde 1 and 2, with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Go. And the rest of her credits are basically like all tons and tons of like softcore erotica movies.
Makes sense.
So, there's, like I said, everybody else, there's a wide range working cast. So, we're going to just jump into the movie. We're going to get physical. We can do a little Luton John here.
I like that.
Physical.
There we
Okay,
go.
There you go.
So we open on a stormy night outside of the Star Body Health Spa, and we see lightning hits the this super 80s like bright neon sign, which causes most letters to black out, leaving the sign to read Death Spa.
I thought that was
Right.
clever.
And that's how we open right there.
I like the way it opened. Right off I saw that, I was like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way it's warming up.
And the camera slowly takes us inside the gym / spa, which weird that they call this a spa, just because
That's
when
what
I think
they-
of a spa, this is not what I think of. It's like a straight up gym.
Yeah, but that's what they used to call it in the 80s. It
Yeah.
used to be like a health spa. Like, that's where yuppies went to go and do, like, jogging was like a thing. Like, it was like a new trend. So everything was
and-
super trendy. It wasn't about fitness.
Right.
Yeah, but like
gyms
there's like
will-
today's like they don't do like facials, massages, or you
No,
know,
it's
Sure.
not like what we
There's
think is
nothing
a
like
spa.
spa.
But kind of like what
that's
Sarah
about
was saying, and she brings up a good point. In the 80s and stuff, I mean, if you belonged to a gym, you most likely had some money. You know, and gyms back in the day, had much more to offer. Like,
Yeah.
you know, saunas and big pools and, you
tanning,
know,
and just
you
a lot of
know,
other services
the-
outside of exercise.
you know, the juice bars and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was more of a, you get fit and you also can just, you know, pamper yourself a little bit.
It's a place to be cool.
So the inside of this place is just completely
I never went.
80s
No, me
out.
neither.
It is 80s rific. I love it.
Yeah, it was weird because they show like each machine and it's like got decorations behind it,
Yeah.
or like
Oh,
you know,
God.
it's,
like
it's-
neon paint that spell
Yeah.
out star, and like,
Yeah.
in really weird abstract.
This is where
lettering.
you bench press.
Yeah.
And it's like got decorations around it.
Throughout this whole movie, I'm trying to decide, is this just like a really weak ass gym setup, or is this what all like LA spas looked like in the 80s? Like, is this like a real,
Well, like
is this real, or
you know,
is this
I'll
fake?
just now you bring I'll just jump to this right now.
Seems
But
crazy
it
to
actually,
me.
from some of the research and some stuff I've read and found, that it was filmed in an actual like closed down gym, like Hell's Cup. It was, but it had gone out of business. So I don't know what was, what
Yeah,
they
their
brought up
overhead
with.
must have been ridiculous.
Well, it's future.
So we see this blonde woman
Futuristic.
dancing around the spa's like studio aerobics room, dance room, whatever. She's by herself and she's like flash dancing it up.
Everyone wanted to be Flashdance or Jane Fonda in the
Yeah.
80s. That's
And
your only choice.
So after she finishes her dancing, she's relaxing when Marvin shows up, and he's the big black guy, and he walks her off halfway to the door and tells like, "Hey, lock up when you're the last one out."
Yeah, he's like, "You're the last one here. Lock up."
Gives
see
her
you
a
later."
kiss, which is really weird. 'cause
Yeah, it
it's
was
not
like
like a kiss on the
kisses?
cheek, but it's like
no, it
straight
was
up-
like
Yeah, it wasn't a kiss on the cheek like like friends would do sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a kiss on the lips, and I even thought to myself like, "Oh, they must be involved."
exactly. I thought the same thing, but like, nope, they're not.
Okay.
So, yeah, we learned this is Laura. We learned her name's Laura, and she heads off to the locker room, which she has to use a key card to open the door with. So this is
very
like high tech,
futuristic,
like
high-tech.
security.
High tech
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
And she heads into the sauna, where she lays out completely naked, and you see everything full frontal. And
That's
you
why I
get
thought it was Kim Cattrall. 'Cause
glorious
once you-
80s Bush in its full prime. And it's not Kim Cattrall.
I'm not gonna get over that.
You need to,
Anyway,
because it's
all right.
not.
it was nice. It was a nice nudity surprise within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was.
like, why wouldn't you go home and shower? And then I was like, oh, you're getting in the sun. All right,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, she needs a
Forgive me.
schwitz. She needs a quick schwitz.
Yeah.
And then so
Cue softcore porn music.
Right.
So while she's laying there enjoying her sauna, the sauna
Enjoying.
itself begins to like crank out all this steam from these pipes above, and Laura's panicking. She runs to the door, which is now locked, but she is a fucking champ here because she just palm strikes through the glass window of the door, shattering it. And she managed to do so without cutting herself
Right.
at all on the glass.
She had a towel in her other hand. Why not use the towel?
Wrap her hand in the towel and then punch through, but
This-
she just
No,
wham.
she just did it.
My only thought is maybe she watched some Bloodsport and she was practicing the dim mak, and she's like, "Wow!" with palm strike, just smashes it open without damaging her hand.
But unfortunately, she the gas that or whatever the heat or steam whatever is too much for her,
She doesn't
and
make
she collapses to the floor. And we cut to this really nice like hillside house with a pool out front, and this really looks like something you'd see in like a Beverly Hills. Like it's really fancy,
Really nice.
really
Yeah.
nice place. And inside, there's a man sleeping on the couch with the TV on, and he's having this dream of a woman in a wheelchair engulfed in fire.
It was a pretty violent cut too, because I got it was a dream later on, but they show him, on the couch, flash this woman bursting into flames in a wheelchair, and then him picking up the phone like, "Hello?"
Yeah.
They're like, what? It was really bad editing. It was kind of choppy.
Exactly. The phone rings him up, and then we see him speeding through the streets in his Porsche convertible,
Fucking sweet Porsche.
running red lights like he just don't give a damn.
YOLO.
And he pulls up to a hospital. And he runs inside where the doctor asks him if he's looking for Laura Danvers. And I'm like, how would the doctor know that he's here
I know.
for her? She just walks in, so it's like, is she going up to every person she sees? Like, are you here for Laura Danvers? Are you here for Laura Danvers? Like trial and error. Somebody's got to be
Someone's
here.
gotta be here. I love it because he just walks in and just starts opening random
Oh,
doors
yeah.
in the
It's
emergency
like
room.
some crazy hydrotherapy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
some naked girl get a
surgery.
sponge bath to like
Yeah.
a hydro tub or
I
something.
know. I'm just like, what a dick.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
And I did have a quick geek moment here because I was like, Laura Danvers, I've known that name. I was like, is that? I think that's the name of Captain Marvel or Ms. Marvel in the comics. I'm like, oh wait, no, it's Carol Danvers.
It is, yeah.
So
good,
like,
good,
damn.
good ear though.
So the man we introduced himself as Michael Evans, the owner of the Star Body Health Spa.
Michael Evans.
Michael
Can
Evans.
I take a
Oh,
sidebar
yeah,
really quick
yeah.
and shout out to our friend?
Yeah, good shout
Michael
out.
Evans.
One of our good friends, Mike Evans. Hope he's listening.
I hope he
we
is,
need to
too.
hashtag him on this. Yeah.
And so she takes him in to see Laura, who's lying in his hospital bed, completely wrapped in gauze, looking like the mummy. So the doctor tells Mike that she's suffered bad chemical burns all over her body, basically from chlorine to be exact, like chlorine burns.
Chlorine
But then she like
vapors.
walks it back and
And-
says, "It's really not that bad."
No, we finally it's
That's all
really
right.
not. So we jump to a crowded Star Body Hell Spa. People are working out. They're getting smooths at the juice bar, and there's tons of bright neon spandex as far as the eye
God.
can see.
Oh, these outfits are off the charts.
So many leotards.
Speaking of the outfits, in comes the craziest one, Marvin, the black guy.
What is
who's
Marvin
this
wearing?
crazy, like brightly colored clown-looking jacket, and it's insane what he. This I can't imagine anybody ever actually wearing this outside like a circus.
That's his gym attire.
Well, this is when we were graduating from the 80s to the 90s. You know, that's kind of what it was. It's like, I remember that
Yeah.
time. It was windbreakers galore.
Really
you know,
colorful
and
stuff.
Just, everything was super
Gaudy.
colorful, hyper color kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just, everything was just gaudy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And so basically he's doing weight spotting for this one guy who's trying to show off for this really hot brunette who I think her name is Darla.
And he's the only guy who's kind of schlubby. Everyone in this place
Yeah,
is
this-
like a
Yeah.
hard body.
This guy's supposed to be like the comic relief. He's
Yeah,
like the guy in the gym
yeah.
who doesn't really know how to use the equipment, but he's trying to.
He just looks like a normal dude. Everyone else is like ripped, you
Yeah.
know, or all the ladies are sexy, and there's no middle ground except for this one dude.
Yeah. And he basically saves this guy. One, of course, the weight, like, I can't hold it. And he's, Marvin just like, not even looking at the guy, just reaches down one hand and picks the weight up. And
You should
it
always
says-
use a spotter.
Yeah. And Darla like then says, thanks for the new diving board in the pool, and she walks off. And at this point, we notice the largest surveillance cameras I've ever seen mounted
They're
on the
so
wall.
Crazy.
These things are the size of like Xboxes or bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gigantic.
Looks like a VHS hanging in the space.
Yeah. And so which cuts to two guys watching the security monitors, oogling over the hot brunette and just, everything else. And turns out one of the guys is David, the guy who kind of runs the computer system, and I think like the janitor or something. And so basically it turns out this whole gym, this whole spa is computer controlled. The computers control everything, like the spas, the weights. I mean, everything.
Yeah,
is
and this is
computer
where the
controlled.
90s aspect of it kind of comes in my opinion, because it seemed like right around this was like technology, but it's still kind of the equipment that they have is they're talking about all these advances that it can do, and they have the swiping key cards, things that can do, the state-of-the-art gym. But they're looking at this monitor that's green print DOS
Yeah.
format, and
Oh
it-
yeah,
the
it's
computer
total
monitor.
Macintosh.
it's
like-
about the size of a phone screen.
Oh yeah.
It's so
Yeah, it's
small.
the computer control room. First of all, it looks like some like a NASA control
Right.
room. This gym
Right.
is run by like NASA headquarters, but the super console in the middle is huge, but it has like these two tiny little
Yeah.
like
Little
screen
monitors, yeah.
on
You
it.
have all this great tech, but can't you get a bigger monitor?
Exactly.
dude? Can't you just spring for the 12-inch?
Exactly. And
Macintosh did not make them that big though.
No.
so, basically, the guys watching say that they can adjust the weights and the resistance levels of the machines through the keyboard and through the machines and all that stuff. So, at the front desk, these two detectives now show up, and they want to talk to the manager, and who enters Priscilla, who turns out to be the gym's manager. And we meet Detective Stone, the woman, and Lieutenant Fletcher, an older man, and they say they have an appointment to see Mike Evans.
So their rationale to come check out the place is because this woman was picked up by city EMS. The city police are required to go check it out, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Which, if they did, I mean, everyone would be employed by the government constantly.
She didn't die. She didn't die there. It wasn't a murder. So yeah, why?
It's not an assault. It makes no sense.
It
makes
doesn't?
zero sense.
It doesn't, but I'm glad that they're there. I'm so glad.
So Mike shows up, and the cops are in the control room, and they show like how the spa's run, and this is where we learn that Mike's wife has died. His wife is dead, and the cops ask David, the man who runs the control room, about just basically everything, and he gives them some computer printouts of like the gym's logs or some bullshit. doesn't really matter.
He talks about hacking. He's like,
Yeah.
it's hacking. They're like, what's hacking?
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
kind of cool.
right.
awesome.
Sarah brings a good point because this is like, late 80s, early 90s, the first time you've probably ever heard the term used in a movie.
Right.
He's like, what were you doing last night? I was at home hacking.
Hacking.
And they're like,
Which
what are you
nowadays
talking
nobody
about?
would be ever admit to cops I was at home hacking nowadays.
No.
But he basically said it was experimenting with computer programs
Yeah.
and da-da-da-da. And even says, if I was into crime, I'd be into credit card. Everything that we worry
Credit
about
card
now,
fraud. Yeah.
Identity theft, credit
Yeah.
card fraud, breaking down, high-tech security companies, getting on your personal information. That's exactly what he says. So it's like almost like looking into seeing this in the past is like seeing the future in a way.
He's a tech guy.
Yeah, he's a tech guy. And it's so funny. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
So we cut to, I believe it's Darla, who's in a pink swimsuit. She's swimming around in this pool, and it is a huge pool. I have never seen a pool this big in
It's
a gym
Olympic
before.
size.
Yeah,
It's like
Olympic-sized pool,
bigger
yeah.
than Olympic size. It's gigantic. And she looks like she's doing some kind of like synchronized swimming routine. And we watch her, she climbs up the ladder to the diving board, which the new diving board. And the camera shows us an underneath view of the diving board where we start seeing like nuts and bolts like start to unscrew by themselves. Just magically start
Right.
unscrewing.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets to the end, she bounces like way too
Yeah.
many times on the end of this thing. She bounces like 10 times on the end of this diving board.
What is she, 5?
Yeah, it's like bouncy, 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 bouncy.
You wonder why it broke, bitch. Jesus Christ.
And right as she is about to finally jump off the diving board, the nuts and bolts come out. The board collapses into the pool, taking Darla with it.
Oh, weak. So weak.
Yeah.
And hearing the commotion, Mike and the cops run in to check it out. And she's helped out. Darla's helped out the pool by Mike, as she explains what happens. And
It's obviously an accident. And
Yeah.
the cops start investigating it like it's a fucking crime scene.
Yeah.
They're like, "Look, let's dust for Prince."
Yeah.
I mean, what's going
well,
on with
again,
these
they're there
cops?
because like, okay, we just had the accident with Laura, and now something else happened. So like, let's investigate it.
The sergeant climbs the ladder to the diving board
Yeah.
in heels.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that's like typical '80s, like
Yeah.
what you had to wear. But like, she's like up on the diving board. Like,
Yeah, I don't know
heels and
many
the-
female detectives who walk around on duty wearing heels, but who knows?
It was these cops were just going a little too overboard for this.
So we go back to David, who's working on the control console terminal, and in comes Mike, who confronts David about what's happened to Laura, basically accusing him of adding chlorine to the sauna sprinklers. David denies this, and they end up talking about Catherine, who is Mike's dead wife and also David's twin sister. And I did get a little confused because at this point it sounded kind of hard, but it sounds like something about Mike accuses David of loving Catherine, and then something said about David says about not wanting a child. It's really confusing at this point, but it gets cleared up later.
Yeah, you kind of get the idea that David and his sister were kind of creepy, like they're twins.
They were twins.
But there's something a little more than that,
He said they shared thoughts.
Yeah.
We
things,
share thoughts.
things you would never understand.
Well, they say twins have that weird kind of connection.
Yeah, but that's getting weird.
so-
And back to chlorine gas. I mean, when they talk about putting the chlorine gas in there, that's going to kill you really fucking fast.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. So
So I'm jumping ahead a little bit because the early part it just gets a little slow at some points, and I'm jumping ahead. And we see Mike sleeping at his desk in his home office, and again he dreams about a wheelchair on fire and his wife.
I just wrote the wheelchair at sunrise, fire. Like I don't even know. Yeah, that's
And
what it was.
Now we go back to Marvin and Mike in the pool because they're playing like grabbing hands and racing.
dude, the relationship between Marvin and Mike
It's
is
amazing.
It's like
It's kinda my
Rocky and
favorite.
Apollo, or it's like Rocky and Apollo.
I love it.
You know, I mean,
love
just
it so much.
two like alpha male jock, one white, one black, little shorts, lots of horseplay,
Yeah.
lots of hugs,
These-
They're
lots
bros.
of pats on the
Bros.
butt. It's definitely kind of like cut from Rocky 3.
Oh, it's a bromance.
yeah,
it's
it
totally
really
a
is.
bro
It
bromance.
really is.
Aw.
And they're in the pool, and then and at the spot they're talking about Laura's death, and really the only thing the worst moment about this conversation is that they decide to talk to Priscilla because maybe she had something to do with the Laura's accident or something like that.
She's
now.
the most anticlimactic character in this whole movie.
Yeah, she
Priscilla?
really
Yeah.
sucks.
There's a lot of characters that suck in
She's-
this movie.
There's a lot of characters that are just whitewashed.
Yeah,
over.
why are they there? Yeah.
So we get this quick scene of a woman talking to some guy who's working out on one of the machines. I think it's Darla.
I think it's Darla.
Yeah.
And
That's
she's
the only other time we see
Yeah.
her.
she's flirting with him, and she asks him, hey, how many reps can you do? And he's like, oh, 15 to 20, but more if I'm showing off. And she's like, well, why don't you show off for me? And then he replies with one of the greatest lines ever, which says, I never waste effort at the gym. Besides, I'm Beta, your VHS. What the
What?
fuck does that mean? I mean, that
Does
is
that
an
mean-
amazing line.
Does that mean he's gay and she?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like,
Does that mean that
to me, it's
he's-
two things. Like, either one, like he's saying that he's gay and she's, plays for,
Yeah.
or he's saying that at the time, like, Beta was supposed to be the superior format, so he's saying he's too good for her,
Right,
Even
I
though VHS obviously won out in the format wars later.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I mean, Beta was a superior format, and everyone makes no bones about that. But VHS sold their product at such a cheaper price. VHS won.
Well, and the porn industry. But
Well, yeah,
Well,
because it was cheaper.
yeah.
You know, so
It worked.
it sure did. It's such a weird line. It's such a
it's a
weird line.
I don't
crazy
know.
line, but it's a great line.
But it's so 80s.
It's the
It's
perfect
so
80s. I
80s.
love
It's
it.
so 80s.
Love that line. I mean, I guess nowadays it'd be like if somebody's sitting here, you're just like, no, I'm HD DVD and you're Blu-ray. I mean, that's kind of what
Right,
it
I
would
don't
have
know.
to be.
Yeah, kind of.
It's such a, I love it. I love the line. So from here on out, I just call this guy Beta. I don't know his name. I just call him Beta. So we get more scenes of people talking and working out, and women are in the aerobic studio dancing. And the dancing going on in this gym is like straight up like being choreographed like Broadway. Like it is
Very choreographed.
huge. Like
Well,
Yeah, this isn't a dance class.
no,
This
it's
is-
just like
Or wait, like we should actually defer here to Sarah, who has been an instructor in a couple different formats of fitness.
Well, I
so-
will say that in the 80s, like for women, all there was like dance aerobics. Like women did not get to actually exercise. Like you had to do all of that, like Jane Fonda, really dancey aerobics. So I see like where the aerobics class would be all like jazz dance. Because didn't one of the girls like call it jazz class or jazz aerobics
I
class
didn't
or like
notice it.
something like that? But like you said, that was some well choreographed shit.
I know
That wasn't like
insanely
any-
well choreographed for like
Any
just a
aerobics
random.
class I've ever been to,
Yeah.
where like you've got the guy in the back that can't like get with the beat. These people were on it. They were like auditioning for Broadway
Exactly,
or
that's what I'm
something.
saying.
What-
It's insane.
it was L.A. It was L.A. I
you
kept
need your
telling
headphones
myself.
turned down a little bit.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Uh,
I know
I
you
can
keep
hear myself.
like your
I'm
hands
like,
go up every
"Ugh."
once in a while when I laugh. You're like like I'm attacking your ears.
But I do notice
No,
that there's like the
it's
one
cool.
token like gay guy in the dance class. He's wearing like a tight blue tank top
Absolutely.
and like the tightest white spandex pants
yeah.
ever.
He was working it.
And he is going like balls to the wall with that dance routine.
Yeah, it's just so good.
So
And you're watching a dance routine.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Mike enters his office, which again, is decorated in vests.
What the hell? What are those
Made
vests?
out of beads.
What
Like,
are the vests?
It's
They're
like-
like on a displays.
It's
What-
on they're on like there's vests on racks just
What?
sat around his office, and it's like a straight up Native American Southwest feel to it,
Yo.
with like a painted cow skull hanging on the wall, and I'm just like, who uses vests as decor? Like,
Yeah,
that's so weird.
And this is again something very late 80s and very early 90s. There was that Southwest fashion
Oh
boom.
yeah.
If you remember, like
know, but-
Southwest style was really big. My grandpa, like I guess it was his last gasp of like I'm hip,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
in like the early 90s, late 80s. He started decorating like that Southwestern style, you know, kind of Aztec-y sort of.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was cow skulls.
Yeah.
You know, pictures of Indians. You know, just ugh.
Probably
Lots of
not any
vests.
Native Americans listening
No,
right now.
it's not even
Because
that. It's
if
just-
you're not.
Well, it's just such a replica. It's because it's not authentic. It's
No,
an
it's just
exact
cheesy.
replication.
Yeah. It was like a corporate spin on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know, it was like a corporation taking a spin on
But even
Southwestern
so.
style. And it was just horrible. Lots of
Vests.
so much turquoise and like aqua.
Oh, turquoise.
Yeah, and just purples and it's like
So-
purples
That
and
is
greens.
the 80s.
Yeah.
That is the 80s.
He's walking around his office and he rushes over to his
Bringing it back.
bookcase and he freaks out because I'm like, what the hell's going on? And because he picks up a bird's nest. I'm like, okay, it's a bird's nest. But then he drops it immediately to the floor, and we found there's like a dead bird
like
fetus.
a chicken fetus?
Yeah,
What
it's like
is
some kind of
that?
dead bird
The
fetus.
fetus was huge.
Yeah, it was gigantic.
It's like a condor fetus.
Here's a hawk egg.
So
That's
like
gonna-
it's just a weird scene. Like he finds a dead bird fetus in a bird's nest in his office, and that's it. It cuts, and so he rushes straight over to David and asks like, "Hey, what's up with the bird nest?" Thinking David has something to do with it. David denies knowing anything about it. Mike threatens David a little bit, and then he just leaves. And we cut to the women's shower room, which is packed with just
like,
naked women.
cut
It's just
straight
ass,
to it. Like,
it's ass and
Butts.
titties galore.
Butts to butts.
Yeah.
I mean, there may be 10 shower stalls in it, and they're all full.
Yeah.
Every single shower is taken up by a naked woman.
it's
Yeah.
pretty great. I mean, really, it's great. It's very diverse body types. It's pretty good. I thought it was
If you mean
Well,
like they were
maybe
all
not.
skinny and in shape,
Well-
yeah, real diverse.
I
diverse.
mean, they had
fit-
tall ones
okay.
and
Yeah,
short
short ones,
ones.
and some with bigger boobs
Some-
and smaller boobs.
yeah.
But that's pretty much as diverse.
Yeah,
as
that's
you
where I was
get.
going.
There were no,
Yeah,
there were no, there were no fatties.
There were
there.
small boobs. There were small boobs and big boobs.
boobs.
I mean, that's just right.
So-
We had the-
Again,
we
it's
had the black-
L.A. What do you think?
and like
What do
one
I-
black girl.
Yeah, we had the one black girl, the one Asian girl, or who knows what
There
she
was
was. I don't
one.
know.
Yeah.
Was she Mexican? Was she Asian?
We
We don't
don't
know.
know.
Her eyes were just a different shape.
So-
and other than that, it was just all the same.
Yeah.
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 So they're all talking about what they're gonna wear for the Mardi Gras party or Mardi Gras coming up, and then suddenly the shower begins to the water starts burning them all. They're screaming, steam's rising, and then tiles start
Tiles.
shooting off the wall at the women. Like they're just flying off the walls, like being
And
shot.
bursting.
And
Like
exploding
smashing
and
into their
Yeah, one girl
faces.
gets cut across the cheek with a tile,
Yeah.
and they're screaming and running. They all
It's
flee out of
very
the shower.
traumatic. It's very traumatic
Yeah,
for their
it's-
nakedness.
Yeah, I would be kind of traumatic.
Yeah.
And so,
Traumatic nakedness.
so after this, there's a really pretty lame, horribly acted scene where Mike is apologizing to two of the women, offering them to extend their membership for 3 months free of charge for the inconvenience.
What a mediocre reaction
Yeah.
from these women. Like
Yeah.
some crazy shit just happened to them
I was
naked in
being
the shower and
burned.
they're like
Tiles
oh.
were shooting off the walls. Here's 3
Michael.
months. Here's 3 months in advance, and then they basically imply,
Ew.
"Thanks, we'll come up to your office later
And bang you.
bang you."
Yeah, like,
Two
thanks,
on
we're
one.
gonna have a
Michael.
three-way.
Yeah, that's
What the
yeah.
hell?
So I just got scarred, had a traumatic event. You just gave me 3 months membership. You're gonna get a threesome.
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly. And speaking of the threesome, the black girl in that, I believe, here's the cameo. That black girl is played. I forget her name, but she was Hillary Banks in the
Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so
Hashtag Fresh Prince.
yeah, hashtag.
Hashtag.
So he's then seen asking Priscilla why she came back to the club the night Laura got hurt, and she says, "Well, I forgot my purse."
He's like gripping her too, like the whole way down the hallway. He's like got a death grip on her, like
what are you doing?
he's like holding her the whole time. like
It's so weird because he's like really accusatory. Why'd you come back? Why'd you come back?
Yeah.
she's
And she's like, I forgot my purse.
I
He
forgot
goes,
my
well,
purse.
it was lucky for my girl.
Okay,
So,
Like,
well,
well, thank her. You know?
Yeah.
Don't be a
thank
dick.
you.
So we jump back to Beta Man, who's getting ready to use the butterfly press machine. And again, in order to use it, he has
Oh,
to
man.
swipe his key card on a swiper, like on a wall behind
Do you
it.
know how inconvenient that would be?
It'd be
really wouldn't.
terrible.
They talk about how this place is state of the art, and everyone who swipes it, it would kind of like, I get it, it adjusts the settings. So if I swipe it and they know my bench press was like, 150 or whatever, and it would switch to 150, that's kind of cool. But man, talk about a pain in the dick.
Yeah.
What if it went wrong, or you couldn't get it right, or you couldn't get it to work,
Well, if
or
it
like
went wrong, well, here's what
Oh,
happened.
let's
What
talk
if
about
this
that.
was- This is my favorite thing.
This might happen if something goes wrong. The machine welcomes him at first, says, "Hey, the weight is set at 120 pounds." And I think he says, "Thanks, Sparta." I think so. They named the computer Sparta or something. It doesn't matter.
This
And-
is Sparta! Sorry.
Spartans.
So with every rep that Beta does, the computer increases the weight by 10 pounds, which is insane.
Which is, and he
Yeah.
kind of starts looking like, what?
He's like,
What's going on?
So
So
it's
I
like-
can do this. Nope, no, I can't.
and then also, so once it hits 150 pounds, Beta
150,
begins to scream out for help and freak
160.
out. And then from 150, it jumps straight up to 350 pounds to 360. And Beta now can't get out of the machine. Like, he's strapped into it, too, for some reason. And other guys are rushing over to try to get him out, and they can't. And blood begins to spurt out of Beta's ribs as ribs cage is being ripped open
It's
because
amazing.
his arms are being pulled back
It's
so hard.
amazing.
Doesn't make sense.
No, his
Nope.
arms should pop out,
Yep.
not his ribs.
Yep, I loved it.
I didn't understand it. I'm
Nope.
watching. I'm like, oh, his arm's gonna rip off. Oh yeah, his
Yeah.
arm's gonna rip off because his arms are like strapped.
Yeah,
in.
it's the butterfly. Straight elbows,
Yeah.
Arms up
But-
at the elbows, hands up.
And he's getting pulled back, and I'm thinking, okay, the resistance is gonna pull him right, shoulders out of the
Nope.
socket.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, his chest explodes.
His ribs, his ribs pop out.
Ribs are poking through. It's a great effect. It looks nice, but I'm like, huh.
Yeah,
It's not what you think
it's
would happen,
anatomically kind of incorrect.
it's
Like,
incorrect.
it's not what happened.
but it's great.
It is great. And
good.
so
I still loved it.
Beta's
so much.
body goes limp, stuck in the machine as blood is dripping out of him. And in the control room, Mike, David, and Tom, who's also like part owner and also the lawyer.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a lawyer and the owner.
Yeah, or like investor or something. He's like a minority owner or
He's
something.
got his finger in the pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're discussing what just happened. And David is defending the computer program, saying it's not the computer's fault, that it can't control the shower tiles. So it's not the computer's fault.
But it controls the fucking weight.
Which just killed a guy. Yeah.
Well, and can we also say that like they start arguing basically over like wanting to make it go manual or
Yes.
make it go why wouldn't they just shut it all down?
Yeah,
Like
just
you
make it
have
manual,
a
yeah.
serious scene in your shower. No one can use your showers. That's
Well,
that's a
to
huge
answer
thing.
your question, here's why they don't want to shut it down. Because Tom, the lawyer, insists on keeping things running because the Mardi Gras party is coming up, and that last year they saw a 20% increase in membership due to that one party.
It just makes no sense.
Because they said, keep it open until the Mardi Gras party. After that, then we can shut it on a manual. Just give me that. And Mike's like, all right, fine, or whatever.
He's a lawyer. It's a liability. What the
Yeah,
hell?
Exactly.
This is
He's
not
the one who should
lawyer
be like,
behavior, yeah.
exactly. He's just, greedy lord. But
Douche.
so, exactly, he wants to shut down a manual, but they don't. And we cut to Mike now bringing Laura back from the hospital as she's released from the hospital. She has bandages over her eyes and she's wearing these goofy goggles over them. And for every coming over, she's supposed to, they say it when we first see her in the hospital, she's been severely burned by
She's
chlorine.
burns.
But she's completely fine.
Just
She's
her
got
eyes.
2 little gauze pads over her
Except
eyes.
for gauze pads
I'm blind.
over her eyes.
blind.
Yeah.
And they have this like weird montage of him giving her a
Oh, we're
dress.
coming up on that. So he
Oh,
gives her
oh,
a present, and this new dress was complete with massive shoulder pads.
Oh my God.
God.
Shoulder pad jacket. It's white.
It's white.
It's
Yeah.
a white coat.
And then
everyone.
they cut to them eating a romantic
Hold
dinner.
on, really quickly.
Okay.
So she cannot see. So I
Right.
put Laura comes home to the house, and even though she cannot see, she has miraculously done her hair up
Thank
in
you.
like
In an
a
updo.
serious
In an
updo.
updo.
Like now she's like wearing like a banana clip, and she's got like a French twist and shit going
Yeah,
on.
and that's-
What?
That's when they go to that candlelit dinner. Her makeup is perfect.
Perfect.
Her hair is perfect.
Yeah.
And her outfit, she's got accessorized and everything with the shoulder pads, and she's got these goddamn fucking gauzes over her eyes. It looks so ridiculous.
And like the gauze and the tape.
And Michael is just necking her.
Yeah, like there's no dinner here. It's just all it is consists of him like nibbling and kissing on her neck, and then especially and then he's like force feeding her asparagus, which looks like he's just shoving a limp penis in her mouth.
He wants her to have healthy urine.
It's like the sexy sea with strawberries.
Yeah, like
you know?
strawberries with whipped cream and chocolate.
Asparagus.
Yeah, but he's got
Asparagus
this
is gonna be the most
he's got this, like,
unsexy food.
buttery.
Asparagus.
He's got this like I can't even say it.
She's all, It's
like-
way better than
it's
hospital
buttery,
food.
It's limp, and he's like rubbing it on her lips.
It's like complete close up and it.
So,
Mike then asks her to move in with him, which she
Yep.
says yes to, but she says only if I can swing by the club so she can pick up her things. Which again makes no sense. Like, do you live at the
She's
fucking
like,
club?
Only if I can go by the club. Really? Why would you
Why
want
do
to
you
go
wanna
there?
back there? Like, go back to your house to pick up your things, not the club. Like,
Where do you live?
that's the last place I think I want to go.
So back at the club, it's closing time. Most of the people are leaving, except for this woman named Marcy. She's alone in the locker room, and the lockers come to life here. And the locker doors between opening and closing, like banging open and close on by themselves. She starts backing up in fear, and behind her, another locker door silently opens.
So weak.
And then from out of the locker comes a giant metal spike that just impales Marcy through the neck.
Nowhere.
What
So weak.
locker room has a spike like that in it?
Why wouldn't she run? Why wouldn't I mean?
This is my.
What even kills her?
This is my attempt at logic. This is sucks.
Okay, good.
Because
Work it out.
this place is so futuristic. Maybe the lockers are controlled somewhat by the computer. So maybe it was fritzing, and maybe she thought, "Well, it's on a fritz." But still, where does this spike come
That's what
from?
I'm saying. Like, even the door's like, yeah, this spike.
The best thing is like the door became a character. It like opened up. It's like, I'm gonna get you, bitch. Wow.
Oh God, yeah. So now Mike and Laura, they enter the gym. He walks her up to the locker room and then leaves her.
He's
So
gonna
she-
leave her there.
Yeah,
What the
I'm
hell?
gonna leave my newly blinded girlfriend alone, so
know.
she can go turn off the security lock, so she can open up her locker.
Not only leave her alone, the place where she was horribly
Right?
injured.
Yeah,
Right. She
So-
can get through there. She can get through there without any help.
no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Mike's sitting at the computer console, logging into the system as Laura wanders off a little bit, and the computer asks him for his top level security clearance password, which turns out to be Catherine.
Oh.
Not the best of passwords there, Bub. I mean, come on. That's like
No.
saying my password's 1234. Like, if anybody you know knows you would be able to figure that one out.
That's what an asshole would put on his luggage.
Boom.
Just watch that. That's good.
Nice.
And so Laura opens the locker, feels around the top shelf for her ring, and we see Marcy her body's crammed into the locker. Her face is now all like messed up, and blood's running down her body, and she's stuffed into this locker. But blinded Laura can't see
Can't
it.
see her. And can we just go back to blinded Laura's stuff? I need to go back to the spa to get my stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like
One ring.
A ring.
a ring and like maybe a book.
Yeah.
What? Where?
I don't need
Like-
clothes or toothpaste or anything. I don't need
Michael
a wallet in
owns
my
the
purse.
spa. Couldn't he just be like, "Hey, tomorrow when I'm there,
Yeah.
I'll just get it for
That's
you.
a really
I'll
good
just
point.
I'll just have so and so go in the locker room and get it for you."
we
Like
really
why?
need to do this?
Why wouldn't he? Why? Yeah. mm-mm.
Yeah, well.
That-
I
I didn't
did-
even think about that. That is a
I did
brilliant
think
point.
it was a little bit redeeming for Marcy though, since she died in such like a stupid way to like be able to see her body
at least
stuffed
to
into
see her
that locker.
again, yeah.
I thought that was okay. Nah.
So back in the office, the words "Michael, I miss you" pop up on the tiny little screen in like green letters, like
Macintosh.
the old Apple
Like
Apple
DOS.
II.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Laura's feeling her way around the locker room, calling out for Michael. As we see the feet of a woman wearing black heels and a long, like sheer black dress or something, walking around the gym.
Fucking creepy outfit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mike sees this woman in black on a security monitor. He rushes out of the room. And the woman in black enters the locker room, and we see that she looks like this zombie.
Fucking skeleton
Yeah,
it's
face.
pretty.
It's creepy looking.
Yeah.
Long blonde hair, and Mike rushes in right as the woman's about to get close to Laura, grabs her, and rips the face off to reveal that it's just, what, Darla?
No, it's Priscilla.
Is it
it's
Priscilla?
I think it's
I
Priscilla.
thought it was
the-
I thought it
Darla.
was Darla
Is
too.
it Darla?
I think it's
Yeah.
Darla because Priscilla earlier comes in. I skipped
Oh,
over.
that's
but,
right,
like,
Priscilla
we have
had
these
the
matching
other-
costumes, the matching Harlequin costumes.
That's right. Those scared the shit out of me, by the
They
way.
were creepy too.
But
But it's still Darla. What a dick.
Yeah,
All
like,
right.
how do you like
yeah,
my
she's
costume?
How do you like my costume?
Yeah,
like
Darla's
what?
a dick. I mean, she just sees blind Linda flopping around, trying to get around, and she can obviously see. What, is she going to scare the blind lady? What a bitch!
Ridiculous.
and
Ridiculous.
the fact that it's in a way you think about it, like she's also a dead blonde woman. Like, is that a shot at Mike's dead wife? Like she was dead, burnt, and blonde. Like, is that like that's kind of bad taste too?
Yeah,
You like my costume?
Like,
yeah.
Doesn't
She's
he
I
employ
like
you?
that costume, and he's like not cool.
Not cool. So we go back to the house where Mike's sitting in a rocking chair on this outside balcony in only his shortest of short shirts.
Holy
shorts.
God!
These things aren't even shorts. They're basically like a cock bag. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really, they're not even really shorts.
It's just like a blue banana hammock.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
covering his cock and balls, and
Barely.
he looks like a baby monkey because he's just so hairy.
He is
you
hairy.
know.
And again, we see his thoughts, and this time the woman in the wheelchair is pouring gasoline over herself like a Tibetan monk.
Oh God!
And then the woman then sets herself on fire. And at the last time we see someone blast the corpse with a fire extinguisher.
You know what I like about this scene when she douses herself and she sets herself on fire? She's a paraplegic, right?
when the fire cures her paralysis.
She leaps right out of that chair. Oh my god, she jumped out of it so quick. I was like,
Oh my
she's
God.
been healed.
She's a paraplegic.
And all of a sudden she jumps up. Oh shit, my legs work. Oh,
I've been healed. I've been healed.
I need to roll.
I never even thought about that because we don't find out necessarily that she's paraplegic until
Now,
like
a little
Till later,
it comes
till,
up,
like
and yeah.
But God, that was
But
so
I never
funny.
even thought
I
of that.
saw that and I'm just
Oh.
like, huh?
Huh?
I'm healed. I'm
She
dead.
sure got on
Things
that
that make
chair
you go,
quick.
hmm.
So he goes back into
So
bed.
he goes bed with Laura and tells Laura that he feels Catherine's presence, that
All the
she's reaching out to
time.
him somehow.
This acting is so
Oh,
shit.
so
It's
bad.
awful.
Oh
Michael
my
is so
God.
bad. So
There's
bad.
there's no feeling or emotion. He's just reading it off
Yeah.
I feel like someone's off camera holding up a cue card.
Exactly.
And
He
he's
kinda
just
is like
reading.
reading the lines. That
Oh
bad.
my god.
I
And
feel
I-
like she's making trouble in the spa.
I feel like she's always been reaching out to
I
me
don't
Well, the
know.
funny thing is,
from
like,
beyond.
Like,
I don't
really?
know.
You think someone's reaching out to you because you just saw a computer say, "Michael, I miss you"? I think that's kind of a cute. I mean, that's
Some
a big
weird
hit.
things are happening.
That's why he's having those deep
all
thoughts
right.
in his banana hammock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So anyway, they go to sleep. Nothing
Yeah,
else
he
happens.
just says, "All right, good night."
Good night, sweetheart.
That's it.
The next day, we are taken to the office of Dr. Lido Mori,
Lido.
He
I don't
processes that shit quick, does he? Okay, good night, baby.
a paranormal
Good night.
investigator. And he's dictating to his tape recorder as he's using this crazy sci-fi looking device.
It's a freaking light up dildo.
That's exactly what I thought it was.
amazing.
It really does look like a light up dildo.
It's a light up dildo on a,
On a
like,
string.
on a string
that
plugged in.
attaches
Yeah.
to like a briefcase.
Oh my god, he's waving this thing around. I'm like,
Yeah, he weighs this thing several times over like an old cigarette case that he says belonged to some now dead person who was murdered by her younger daughter via an axe. I'm like, is he saying this is Lizzie Borden's mom's cigarette lighter or
Right,
case? Like that's
yeah.
really familiar.
he gets all this information
Yeah,
and
all from-
feeling, but it's like he's doing. There's nothing that's telling him this. He's just waving this dildo over this object, and all of a sudden he comes up with this bullshit story.
Exactly.
There's no dictation. There's no. It's just all
No,
subjective.
yeah,
I thought
exactly.
he kind of looked like the dad from Family Ties, and I wasn't sure.
He had too much.
I don't think
hair.
he was.
Too much hair for that, yeah.
No.
But anyway, so Mike's there watching all this happen,
Damn.
and Dr. Mori tells him what he just watched is called psychometry. I don't know. The ability to acquire while in contact with an object paranormal knowledge of its history or facts about its present or previous owners. What is that bullshit? And first of all, if this thing actually existed and you could prove it right, why would he be the only one that had this? Would be a huge thing. I think in like
yeah.
I don't know, police investigations.
It's
and
just
other-
stupid for Michael to even buy it. It's quackery.
Yeah, it's like going to Dr. Cleo for your Dr. Cleo, but Miss Cleo
Miss
for
Cleo, call me now. Read your fortune.
So Mike hands Dr. Mori a brooch that belonged to his wife Catherine, and Mori raves his dildo over it, and immediately says, Catherine, what a beautiful marriage it was too, until she went into labor with your child and something happened to her lower spine. That's as detailed as we get
Yep.
about what happened to her.
Yep.
And then he goes on to say, a cripple growing progressively more bitter and depressed and jealous too.
Yeah, not very PC there, Doc.
Nope.
Nope. And Mike
Bitter
says that
cripples.
all that was out. There was no justification to any of that. After she lost the baby, she couldn't be reasoned with. So yeah, we really don't get any real detail on like what actually happened to Catherine. She died in childbirth, or no, the baby
Paralyzed.
died. She gets paralyzed in childbirth, and the baby
Dies.
And
Yeah.
then she's just a bitter bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
So Maury continues by saying that one day she went into the garden, burned herself alive, leaving behind unrecognizable ashes. Now, again, I'm thinking like, what ashes are recognizable? How are any like if you have ashes, they're ashes. Like what distinguishes one set of ashes to another
I
set of
guess
ashes?
I'm assuming they're just meaning she's burned to her body beyond recognition.
Yeah.
That's
That's what
I
they
get
should
that,
have
but
said
say
that.
unrecognizable ashes. All ashes are the same. They're all recognizable. Unrecognizable. So anyway, not impressed with
Ash
Dr.
to
Mori.
ash.
Mike tells him like, oh, you have to bear that because you can all read that in the newspaper
In the
a year
news.
ago.
It was all in the newspaper.
Yeah. Maury chuckles a bit to himself. He closes his eyes and he concentrates and then just says, a bird's nest. So now he's like Professor X. He's like telepathic
Yeah.
now. He's like,
Oh.
because he's not using his dildo thingy for
Yeah.
that one.
Nope. He didn't. The magic dildo.
The magic dildo.
Just didn't do it for him that time.
And this goes on for a while, and eventually Mike says that Laura pulled him out of his depression after Catherine's death, blah, blah, blah. And then Maury says that he'll come investigate the gym under the guise of being an insurance investigator, and he'll stay then after they close and investigate all night.
So he's gonna snoop around after hours.
Yeah. It also turns out Maury left a seminary, so
Yeah,
he
he
was a
left the
priest
seminary.
Yeah.
because he wanted to separate
Creepy.
true spiritual phenomena from fraudulent deception. And then he pulls out a fucking gun, saying that there is more to this job than things that go beep and buzz.
Yeah,
Beep and
so
That's
buzz.
the most how scientific beep and buzz, like so scientific there, Doc.
like I thought he was gonna say something like to the effect of beep, buzz, and bump in the night,
Yeah.
which I
Or
think would have been a
some-
clever
yeah.
line. But apparently no, because beep and buzz,
And
and I got a Luger.
I think they voted against cleverness in that. I think they were like, let's take the cleverness out of this. It'll be cooler
Yeah.
if we just don't do that.
And I'm like, think of the Luger, the gun. Like, what are you gonna do? Shoot a ghost? Because I'm pretty sure that
Right.
won't work unless you have
no.
a goddamn proton pack.
You're a paranormal. Yeah, if you're like selling yourself as a paranormal psychologist or whatever he is, like,
Yeah.
why would you?
What's he a
why-
doctor in
why-
anyway?
Peter Venkman, the School of Peter Venkman.
Yeah,
I want to go to that school.
Yeah.
Me too.
So now we get to a scene where we hear Catherine and some guy talking, but we never see them. The camera just pans around this room as we
So
hear the
creepy.
conversation, which goes like this: Catherine, you love me, don't you? The guy then says, I can't do this anymore. We're hurting
can't
people.
do it.
Yes, you can. No. And then it's just a bunch of moaning, like they're having sex.
So very
Just
Silence
like-
of the Lambs going on.
And
yeah.
he
found-
is the bottom because she's like, "Ugh," and he's like, oh
And she-
no,
and she's-
Yeah.
she's
Catherine's getting
dominating,
off on it, and
just
then-
totally dominating this guy.
Well, and we don't see what's happening. It's just
No, you
panning
don't see
along the
anything.
No, you
room.
can't. And
All
it's-
you see is that like David seems to have all of Catherine's personal items.
And
Like
it's-
they
it's
show a
like-
diary and
yeah,
jewelry
and it's like
and
food,
scarves.
but it's like this
Well, they
guy.
just gave that away because we
Well,
didn't know it was David.
Yeah, we didn't know it was David. Now who cares? But it's like
Keep going, Sarah.
I thought you said. Never mind.
I said some
Not
guy.
him.
there's like
It's
happy,
a guy.
but there's like rotting food in there, so it's like he's been held up
remember
there for a
rotting
while,
food,
like
but-
eating apple cores. And
Oh,
stuff.
there's
So-
an apple core.
I don't know, it was just weird.
I thought. I mean, I knew it was him right away because then it pans to the picture of the two of them.
That's true.
It pans to the picture,
Oh,
like
yeah,
you
there's a
know
picture.
in that
I
scene.
thought, but I guess I didn't realize the picture was there. I thought it was Michael
it-
and Catherine.
I
at
thought it was
first.
Oh.
David just banging some chick.
But anyway, Catherine just says that's better. They're so weak,
Anyway,
and
the scene's
together
confusing.
we're strong. And again, yeah, exactly. I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah,
That's what
okay.
I wrote because
Okay.
it is confusing. So back in the women's locker room, someone passes Linda, which is the other woman that was going to have the three-way with Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They just some woman passes Linda a note out of nowhere, and it then says that Linda. Oh wait, I didn't write. The note reads that pretty much says, "Meet me in the basement. Follow the map. Signed Michael." The map, all I can see is just a square
This is a
with the
crappy
word
map.
that says "stairs down" next to it, and it looks like a murderer wrote the.
It's crappy.
The
Yeah,
note.
yeah.
It is awful. So after reading the note, Linda holds it to her chest like a lovesick teenage girl who just read like a love letter from the cute boy in
Right.
class.
She's like, I'm gonna get so plowed.
And she's like swaying back and
yeah.
forth. And
She is.
She wants
smitten.
the dick.
Yeah.
so of course, not I guess cock hungry. She just blindly. she goes, I'm going into the basement. Sure. So she goes down the stairs, which happen to be lit in a pinkish purple, like neon
Yeah,
light.
what's up with all the lighting and
And-
it? Like, it's very 80s.
It's so weird. Like this is a basement, and then along the
Very
side of the
poorly
stairs is a metal like conveyor belt system, which doesn't really work because out of nowhere a box just
Yeah.
gets tossed on it from
up
who
with the
knows
random
where.
Is it
box?
supposed to be like mail shipment?
I
Like,
don't know what it is, but instead of the box like nicely gliding down this thing, it just like clunk, clunk, clunk.
boom, boom.
I mean, you might as well just throw this thing down the stairs. You would have got the same
Yeah,
effect.
really.
And like, I don't understand this. And first of all, can we talk about this basement? It goes from like we're in this house spa
Oh my God.
into like we saw it teleport to like an industrial complex.
Yeah.
It's like
Death
a warehouse.
This basement
What?
is like 30 feet tall, and there's supposed to be an underground
Yep.
basement.
And it's nothing but just leaky pipes,
Pipes and boiler rooms
steam.
and industrial.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Just
I can
waste.
understand like the pipes in a boiler room because you have a pool,
Yeah, and a
and you
sauna.
and a sauna, and you have to keep those things like
Yeah,
regulated.
totally, I get
so
that
you
part.
and you have the showers, so you have like a pretty extensive
Water system.
plumbing system, yeah, going on down there. But yeah, it was like like you said, the ceilings were like 30 feet tall. Like,
yeah,
what-
it's insane.
It was huge.
And anyway,
very-
first of all,
the
I want to know
death
who threw the
basement.
box down there. And first of all,
What does
whoever
that
it
have
was
to do
doesn't
with
even
anything?
see Linda, doesn't say like, and tell her to leave because she clearly went through marked doors and say no entry.
No entry.
So if somebody threw a box, they should be like, hey, get out of there.
Hey, what are you doing
What
down
are you-
there?
you're
Cut it
not
out.
supposed to be out here. So
I'm
she,
gonna
I'll
get
throw a
plowed by
box at you.
Michael.
yeah,
I'm gonna get plowed.
so she ends up in the bowels of the
She's
gym
like, box, crazy.
and the boiler room, which I'm getting. It's always a fucking boiler room. So thanks a lot, Nightmare on Elm Street, because from you and here on out, it's always fucking boiler
Always a
rooms.
boiler. There's so much steam.
And she's calling out to Mike,
Steamy.
who's obviously not there, and the lights begin to flicker.
And she's like, I don't like this, Michael. This isn't
Oh,
sexy.
Michael.
And steam starts shooting out from the sheens, and some sort of liquid is
No,
sprayed out
it's
from the
not.
ceiling sprinklers.
Getting fucked down there would not be sexy.
No,
No,
you're
it
like
wouldn't.
the worst place to go and
Gross.
like
Can we-
hook
It's
up.
disgusting.
It's, gee, you have an office,
Yeah.
dude.
You're
Wouldn't
the
she
owner
think
of the
twice
club.
about-
Yeah. And so at first it turns out to just be water. And it doesn't do any harm to Linda. And for some unknown reason, who just starts flopping onto the floor. She just falls onto the
So,
floor.
yeah.
It's just water, and she flops down. She starts crawling on her belly underneath some machine.
I mean, this is the impression I go. She did say, "What is this? Oh, what is this?" Maybe she was talking about this isn't water. This is something else.
Well, I think it is water because it's not hurting her at all. She just falls to the ground, and then we see a woman standing in the shadows as a pipe bursts above her, and now I guess acid is supposed to be in these
Yeah.
pipes because Linda's face begins to
Totally.
burn off as she cries, "Ouch! It's
Yeah.
burning!
Ow! Ooh,
Oh, it's
ouch.
burning!"
Yeah, she's not like it's not a slow burn either. Like, her
No.
face is melting really fast.
Yeah.
and she's like, "Ooh, ouch! Ooh, this smarts." You know, like she's not freaking out. Like, "Wah!" You know, she's just taking it. Like, oh, like someone's giving her like a nipple twist or something. You know, like a titty twister or something. Ouch! Ooh.
Yeah. So, so the next scene we see David shows up at Mike's house while Laura's home alone, and he gets real creepy during this scene. But some other hot blonde drops off a bag of groceries,
Yeah.
God.
and nothing happens. So I'm basically we're gonna skip over it.
Oh man,
Dude, Michael's
Can
got hot blondes like all over him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
can
And
we talk about the? I mean, I don't. But the scene though, like it really had a lot of great potential to be like really, really creepy,
yeah,
and then nothing.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
yeah,
Nothing.
it's kind of hard to threaten a blind woman with a screwdriver if she can't see,
See
the
anything.
weapons.
Right, yeah.
There's no
right.
there's no suspense for
Well,
her.
and she's all like, "Get away from me!" Like she was definitely scared.
Yeah, he touches
she
her
was
face.
obviously
She's
very
obviously
scared.
blinded. I mean,
And-
it was a creepy scene, but it wasn't. It,
And
it-
then
but
she's like, "Sorry."
it's okay to go over it because just skip over it because it didn't do
Yeah,
anything.
really the
No.
only thing
Yeah.
I think I'll mention about the conversation is that I believe this is the conversation where she tells, it's like, I know you think Dave and I were doing some while
Yeah,
you
your
Catherine's
sister,
around, but
yeah.
we didn't. We weren't. I know she never cheated on her. Blah blah blah. But let's okay. Now Michael does return home at this point, but again, let's mention this. Like Michael is a shitty boyfriend because he has left his newly blinded girlfriend alone constantly.
again.
Yeah.
Again.
She's home alone by herself like this entire movie, and she can't see in a strange house, which is got like tons of stairs with no railings on them.
A
And
lot of
bizarre
glass.
architecture.
Yeah.
Like there's
It's
like
weird.
areas where you can just walk off and go, and like fall like
that,
5 feet.
That dining room thing, yeah, just walk off a ledge.
Really quickly too, can we talk about how Michael is a gym owner, and I know that this is obviously like a high-tech gym of the future, but there is no way on a gym owner's salary that you own the car that you own and the house that you do. What else are you doing?
Well, I guess
there
he's
is
like
no-
saying this is a guy like if the one man who owns like Gold's Gym or something like that would be like, oh, I have all of it
I
now.
guess so.
Several chains, but it seems like this is just
what else?
Yeah,
is
it's
it?
just
Either way.
one
Yeah.
super.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just one super gym.
Mm-hmm.
So back at the spa, Priscilla
Coke dealer.
and some other guy. I think this is Tom the lawyer, but because he's so forgettable.
It is,
Is
yeah.
it
Yeah.
okay? So they're working on like the electrical system of the spa down in the basement or something.
Yeah, why is he sabotaging things? What
well,
is this?
they come to that later.
Yeah.
But they say like he wants to make the computer so the computer no longer controls the AC unit, the air conditioning.
They wanted to make the party.
Hot. Or what he,
They had some line, but it didn't make sense.
Yeah, it always basically. I guess they don't want the computer to operate the air conditioning.
He
and
said
that's
something to
it.
the effect: instead of a Mardi Gras party, we're going to have a hot house. That's not even funny. It's not even clever. I
No.
don't understand what that's
Doesn't
supposed
make
to
any
mean.
know.
sense.
So he's turning off the AC, and while he's working on it, he
He
takes
leaves
off his watch because his sweet calculator watch, I guess, is like
Yeah.
causing some friction.
This guy's supposed to be a like really successful rich lawyer, and he's wearing like a damn like $10 Casio calculator watch.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. And yeah, he leaves it behind by accident. And this takes us to Morey, Dr. Morey again, who's going through the spa with his fucking dildo,
God.
light up dildo on a stick.
He's walking around with this dildo like it's an
Wah,
like a
wah,
PKE
wah,
meter.
Yeah,
wah,
like-
yeah,
wah.
yeah.
What?
It's making these noises. You know, he's wah, 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 wah. Well,
That's it. That's
It's ridiculous.
And he's taking his readings and whatnot, and we hear like a sound like crashing sounds coming from somewhere, and he runs off to investigate, and he ends up in the basement. Now,
back to the pink, creepy basement.
Where-
It's so pink down there.
Yeah.
doors start opening and closing behind him without him noticing, and again, we already talked about this. It's just insane because of this underground complex, and he finds Linda in the boiler room. Her face is burnt and melted off, but yet somehow she's still alive.
She's moaning. How
and
is
she's
she alive?
whimpering.
There's nothing left. There's like it's like a puddle
She's
of
a
mush with a
mud.
little
Yeah.
bit of,
Yeah,
with a little
she's
bit
a-
of skull
she's
left.
goo.
She's a
It's
puddle.
basically goo, and she's going, "Oh boy, this hurts."
Yeah. And her skin's melted. She looks like
she's
yeah,
bubbling.
like the blob
she's
took a
bubbling
sh-
out.
She's bubbling.
she
Yeah.
looks like the blob took a shit. Like,
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And so Morey says, "Fuck that." He runs out of the room.
He's like, "Ah!"
He leaves her die, but he stops at the
It's the only
base
smart
of the
one that's
stairs
run the whole time.
Right.
It's-
when he hears a woman laughing, and he spins
Oh,
around,
yeah.
and he's face to face with Catherine dressed in like a white nightgown and like nightwear or something like that.
It's probably the outfit she was wearing when she burned
Yeah.
herself. Yeah.
And Catherine grabs Morey by the forearms
The best. This
and
is the best.
tosses him 30 feet into the straight up into
Yes.
the air because apparently this basement is like 30-foot ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
And Morey hits a glass window that happens to be in the ceiling for some unknown reason. Why that's there, I don't know. And he comes crashing down face first to the basement floor.
Dude,
Gets up like nothing happened.
I loved it so much. She grabs him and just throws him up like I'd throw a small child.
Yeah, it's like
Uh-huh.
you're playing toss with a
Whee!
kid.
Yeah, like you throwing a kid in the air and she just tosses, but he just goes flying to the ceiling, smash. I thought it was a light fixture.
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
comes crashing down, and he's got to be
But
coming
it's
down
glass. It's not
20, 30 feet,
Exactly.
and he hits face
Concrete.
first.
First
Concrete.
concrete floor.
He lays there for a second and then goes, huh?
And he
Yeah,
gets
I'm like,
up.
oh, he's dead. And like, oh, and he gets
Nope.
up, no blood on his face, no broken
I
bones.
love this all so much. It's
And
my
this is-
favorite.
oh my god, I love it. And then he pulls his gun
One of
out
my
of his
favorites.
jacket pocket. He tries to shoot Catherine, and oh my god,
the best.
what happens next is awesome bonkers because the gun explodes,
Just explodes. Blows up.
blowing off his hand.
Boom.
The gun itself explodes,
It's slow motion too.
Yes, it is.
and his
It
hand
all
goes with
explodes.
it.
It's a slow motion explosion
Ba-boom.
of his hand just. just
I paused this movie at this point because I was laughing so hard at what just happened. So Catherine then picks him up again.
yeah, again.
Uh-huh.
Throws.
Oh wait, but the blood that shoots out too.
Oh,
we have
oh,
to talk
oh,
about
yeah.
it. It comes out like a fountain, like
Yeah, like a super
fire
soaker.
hose. Awesome.
So she picks him up and throws him again. This time she throws him up the stairs where he slams into the closed metal doors, lands on the metal conveyor belt, and rolls down,
back down.
All the way down.
on his back head first.
See, he
and
slid down.
This is what seems to kill him because he just died.
He died. He bled out and died. That was it.
That hand explosion
best.
was fantastic.
That was so great.
So we go back to Michael, who's pacing around the outside of his house, and he's hearing Catherine call him. He's like, "Come to me, Michael, come to me." So he runs up the stairs.
But it's red.
Yeah,
behind
she-
her.
well, I was gonna-
crazy
yeah,
red.
Yeah.
Fog. all this stuff.
Yeah, the camera just shows his balcony. He's flooded with red light and red smoke, and he runs all the way up the
Sprints.
stairs, runs towards her as he's telling him, "Jump, Michael, jump!"
Jump,
So he
Michael.
does a swan dive over the balcony ledge and plummets to the ground, where he wakes up in bed next to Laura. Now, this bed is fucking weird because it's basically a hole in the floor, and it's
It's a
it's a
nest.
sunken mattress. It's a sunken bed.
They
Didn't
have
notice.
They
You
have
didn't
a
notice it?
they have a
Oh.
thing with nests. I don't know.
You
Maybe
have a good
I
point. It's kind of nest-like, but
Ooh.
yeah. And the only time, I mean, it
Chicken
doesn't look
fetus.
comfortable at all because it's like a
Chicken
twin.
fetus.
It's not queen size. It's like barely a twin cut into the floor because you see like the window, like the floor behind the window here, and you have to step down into it. And the last time I saw a sunken bed like this was in the Beatles movie Help. 'Cause this is the only other time I saw a sunken bed. Only that one was much cooler
It's
looking.
a weird reference, but I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So then we see Mike entering the spa looking for Dr. Mori. And he heads down to the basement. He stands at the base of the stairs where Mori was killed, calls out to him, but having no luck, he heads back to the boiler room where he hears a beeping noise.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where he finds the watch, Tom's watch,
Uh-huh.
from where they're working on the wiring earlier. And he shows up, he goes straight to Tom's house, and he accuses him of sabotaging the club. And now out comes Priscilla from a room, like just got done taking a shower or something like that. And Mike starts putting the pieces together. He's thinking, he's like, okay, the two of them are banging, and they're working together to sabotage the spa. And he even asked him which one to put the chlorine in the steam system.
This confused me very much because, like, they kind of admit that they've done some things,
Yes.
but then they kind of allude to the fact that they were the ones that made some of these accidents happen. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it was just some chlorine, but we saw the bolts of the.
Yeah, this movie, like, there's like subplots going on. And
Yeah,
so
it's really confusing. Also, can we talk about Tom's shorts because damn,
they were the most colorful shorts.
they were very colorful. They were floral pattern and they were short.
Oh my god,
They were short.
Yeah, they were.
Whew, I'm glad I did not have to date in the 80s, ladies. Oh my god. Woo. Woo.
That's hilarious.
Thank the Lord.
So yeah, but like you just said, Priscilla herself says the steam room. We did the steam. Like
Yeah,
we did the
she kind of
chlorine in the
admits to
steam.
it,
Like,
yeah.
we did the chlorine in the system, but
But the door shouldn't have locked.
Exactly.
The door
She
doesn't lock.
should have
She
been-
should have been able to get out.
out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when asked about the diving board, Beta and the messages on his computer, they deny that. And
Yeah, she's like, what messages?
yeah, and they tell him like they think the stress of the last week starting to get to him.
Yeah.
And then they confess.
Tom doesn't confess anything. He basically is like, oh, Priscilla knows a bunch that I don't know. He
She
like
does say
acts like
that.
he isn't.
But then, Priscilla does confess they're planning like basically wanting things to
Mm-hmm.
go wrong so they could pin the blame on Mike and then buy him out.
Yeah, so it's really strange. It's like they just basically confessed to assaulting his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right.
And it kind of takes a bit of the but we've seen all this supernatural stuff. So what's is it? Is it someone being?
Yeah, things get really confusing
Yeah.
and weird at this point because Sarah's talking about that, and we're gonna cover more of this, and we're talking more depth about it coming up. So anyway, so Mike leaves. He leaves the apartment. Priscilla calls Tom the king prick and tells him to stay away from her, and then she leaves
You're the
too.
king of pricks.
Yeah, so like I don't know what that does.
It's a compliment. Take it as a compliment. Really? What?
Yeah. So
Now
now
we're gonna be the king of something.
Yeah.
Right, I guess.
Yeah.
of the
So
world.
we get another scene in which we hear a man and a woman, and now we hear Catherine talking again, and we see an unknown woman like rub lotion on her legs as the conversation says. The man goes, "We should stop now. I see their faces. I hear their screams. It's horrible." Woman, their flirtations annoy me. I'm tired
Annoy
of waiting
me.
for Michael. No, please, I can't. I don't want to. And the woman's like, "We've only just begun."
So Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
like.
And now the camera pans up, and we see it was David talking to himself.
Sorry about the spoiler earlier, guys.
And at this point, I'm like, God damn, this movie is a tangled web of shit happening because we have Tom and Priscilla plotting and scheming,
Yeah.
causing some of the accidents. We've seen the actual ghost of Catherine kill people, and now we have an insane David on the loose. And which also makes me, is he possessed by the ghost of Catherine, or did he just go insane by her death? And there's a lot of shit going on now that get things a little complicated.
Yeah.
And we go back to Mike, who tries to call Dr. Moore's office with no luck, and he gets another computer message, or an IM, if you will, that reads, "I can't wait much longer. Come to me now."
Come to me, Michael.
And in comes Marvin, And Mike asks him if he's seen David or Moray. Marvin's like, no.
And they still play a little bit of grab ass.
Yeah.
Still, they're like, "Hey, all right,
Hey,
all right."
baby.
Yeah. Patting each other in the back, giving each other
They
noogies.
play,
We're gonna make
Office-
this manual. Yeah, woo.
I know,
once they
they
were-
do a windmill high five.
Yeah.
They do a windmill high five.
I think that's after they play Office football.
Oh yeah,
They
they
play
do.
Office
They
football?
do that.
But yeah, they're just like, we're making this manual. They miss the top part and come down to the bottom. Windmill high five. I was like, fuck yeah.
Now people have to work out manually. Oh no.
Yeah, so Mike heads to the control room, switches the spa over to manual control, and this control and in this
They won't know
control
what to
room,
do.
there's like this little side room attached to it where, all movie long there's been like, just one random dude just working by himself.
Yeah. Like
no
with a
one ever
hairnet
talks
on.
to him. No
Yeah.
one acknowledges this guy even exists. And I'm like, maybe he'd be a good person to ask if you're looking for David, or if you want to switch the system over, because
Right.
apparently he's been here the whole time.
He might have some security clearance.
Right.
I mean, whoever this second shift guy is.
So they leave the control room. Mike gives Marvin his ID card, and the two cops and Mike arrive at David's house, where they basically say "fuck a search warrant" or proper procedure and just break into
he goes,
David's
"I'm
house.
breaking in."
The cops just go, okay.
Okay.
And they turn
Yeah,
around.
they're
Yeah.
Like, we didn't see it.
So the camera
We
now
weren't
switches
here.
to like a POV angle of what the three of them see while they're walking through David's house, and the female lieutenant or detective, whoever, mentions like, "Oh, he obviously doesn't live here alone." And on the patio, we see the charred, burnt remains of the wheelchair from Mike's dream.
wheelchair. And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I'd say the male detective sees a computer monitor that has a woman's thong draped over it, and the
Mm-hmm.
screen reads, Star Body Health Spa System check, security pass, circuitry, just a check of all
Yeah.
the systems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still running, so it's been recent. Like, it's real recent because the systems check's still going. And then the male detective calls for an APB on David, which they say, oh, he could be a psychopath. Oh, he might be a wacko. Oh, and he could be in drag.
And he could be in drag.
I love it. He goes, get this. Guy might be in drag.
He may be in
And
drag.
it's kind of funny. They said he's 6 foot 135. That's pretty fucking
That's-
slim.
yeah.
That's a little slim for, I don't know. I'm a big guy in weight.
I mean, he's a thin guy, but yeah, I don't think he's 135.
I weigh 135.
yeah. I mean,
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
Like 5, maybe 5'5".
Yeah, and you're
Maybe.
and you're very fit and slim. I mean, there's no way this guy would be a skeleton.
So
Ah.
they all leave for the club. And back at the club, the employees are getting ready for the Mardi Gras party.
Oh, God.
Mike
Oh my
calls
God,
in and
it's so
tells
awesome.
this one random worker who's dressed like a pirate to stand guard at the control room, not to let anyone in, not let David in, who might be dressed like a woman or
He even said he might be judged
He
like
might
my
look
dead
like a-
wife, Catherine.
Yeah.
he
And-
just doesn't know it nonchalantly.
yeah,
He
and
could be.
to
It
tell-
could happen.
and to tell Marvin to stand watch at the front desk for David as well. So time passes now, and the party's in full swing. And this looks more like a bad costume party than a Mardi Gras party, because there's really
Uh-huh.
nothing Mardi Gras about
No.
it at
So
all.
just for our listeners, if for any reason you can't watch any of this movie, start here.
Exactly.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is,
this
here
is
on
the
out,
best part.
The movie gets,
If
God.
we haven't
So
laughed
good.
our asses off already about this movie, from here on, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. So yeah, the last like 20 minutes of this
Oh
movie are
my
amazing.
God.
So the two cops arrive, and Marvin shows them to the back to Mike's office.
Who's
and-
dressed like Alibaba.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dressed like and shirtless, just let that chest hang out.
Yeah.
And they walk off to see Catherine or David at this point, dress up.
Yeah,
But the actor is clearly a woman at this
It's-
point.
yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if we're
It's-
supposed to
it's
think it's
Catherine.
Catherine or if it's David,
so
but it's clearly a woman.
funny because they talk about how be on the lookout, be on the lookout.
Yeah.
They give hugs to other people, and she just is walking around.
She's just
with
walking around
Yeah.
right there
like,
by him.
and slowly,
Right
not trying to be
behind
stealthy.
them.
She's walking by with like her hands
Doopy-doop,
parted at her
doopy-doop.
side.
She's
like
a psycho.
Like she's the second coming. She's walking through slowly. Each step is very deliberate
Yeah.
and just,
So-
she's on a mission.
Exactly. And which her mission is, she walks into the control
They're
room.
blind.
She just like appears into the control room where this employee dressed as a pirate is watching.
His name is Jeffrey, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Jeffrey the pirate.
And he's watching what I think are two girls making out in the mud.
Yeah, and
yeah,
his
he's
face
watching
is
some
flashing.
sex.
But
Yeah.
he's like, oh yeah.
Catherine waves her hand over the circuit boxes and the switch panels, and they just all magically turn on. So now the gym, I guess, is back on.
Come back
computer
to
mode.
life.
And she turns to Jeff, who tells like, "You can't be here.
You're not supposed to
Even
be
though
in
you're
here."
exactly the person I
Yeah.
was told not to let in here."
Yeah.
You're-
Remember that chick that was supposed to be dressed like my wife, Catherine? Like that's pretty.
That's pretty
Yeah.
much her.
Her,
But
I
she's
know.
like, she just takes off her sheer like white robe or whatever she's wearing, and the male's like, "Okay, well, I guess you can stay."
Two-
Nice arms, huh? Nice
Yeah.
arms.
Yeah, it's an actual quote. Nice arms.
nice,
So
nice arms.
So Catherine like kind of seductively like approaches
She does have nice
Jeffrey.
arms, but
She reaches out a hand to touch his face, and the guy begins like to kiss the inner
It's so
palm.
funny.
it's
He's like
so
trying to nibble on
terrible.
her palms.
And then we
Lick
hear
her
the sound
hand.
of bones snapping as
So
the guy
weak.
Jeffrey screams as she like crushes his face in one hand.
Mm-hmm.
It was
yeah, it was weak. That was weak.
it was weak because it wasn't a good. It was
No.
Yeah. So now Laura shows at the party because she's apparently regained her vision in like
Yeah.
2 days.
It's a miracle.
And again, there's no like
See.
burn marks or scars around her eyes. She is completely fine.
She's wearing some glasses.
she was
Yeah.
wearing sunglasses.
Which I thought were part of the costume because she's dressed in like a like kind of like
I have
a
no
like a
idea what she was
Hawaiian
dressed
print,
as.
like
I have no idea.
who knows, like Hawaiian outfit thing. I don't know.
It was a bikini. She
Yeah.
was just wearing a ugly ass bikini
Yep.
So
with some
Marvin,
ugly ass sunglasses.
so Marvin then knocks on the control room window to check on the guy there, and we just see the shot from behind Jeffrey. We see him stand up and give Marvin a thumbs up.
And he's like dressed in the pirate costume.
he's dressed in the
the
pirate
person
costume.
is dressed in the pirate costume.
But again, if this is Catherine or like, how does Marvin not know he's looking directly at this guy's face?
Jeffrey has long black hair. Catherine has long, like
the
whitish
person we
blonde
see stand
hair.
up is wearing.
He's wearing
a
like
wig.
a curly black-haired wig.
Yeah.
Doesn't
so
look
where's
anything.
the wig come from? Because Jeffrey wasn't wearing a wig before.
There
No.
might be a distance of about 8 feet between Marvin and this
Yeah.
person giving the thumbs up with a gigantic like Lee
Fingernail.
press-on nail.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, and Marvin's like, "All right, how much has Marvin had to drink?"
Yeah, I mean they're looking right at each other, and yeah.
Marvin did seem pretty shitty at the
It
party.
was a glorious 80s party.
Yeah, it
it
was.
really
So
was.
We see the person in the pirate costume pull Laura aside and lead her like off down the hallway. And
She says, "Hi, Jeffrey."
Yeah.
How the hell does she know that is Jeffrey?
Well, I
Because
mean, she-
Jeffrey's not at the front desk. How does she know Jeffrey was dressed as a pirate? Seriously.
well, and
Jeffrey
again,
was.
if she sees the face and he's like she knows him as a employee of the spa.
Sarah makes a good point though because it's not Jeffrey, it's Catherine.
Well,
And
it
she
is,
didn't
but she
peel off
thinks
his
it's-
face.
But she,
You know.
yeah,
Hi,
it's,
Jeffrey. Whatever. She's
Yeah.
blind.
no, she's not blind anymore. And Mike,
It's a miracle.
Mike shows up looking for Laura at this point. Jeffrey has taken Laura to some room, and we see that his face is covered with one of those like creepy clear plastic face masks.
Mm-hmm.
So again, where's that come from? Because it certainly didn't have it earlier. Now in Mike's office,
Yeah, this
A
part
per-
doesn't make any sense.
this
either.
this is ridiculous. The person we see a person dressed in like a skeleton costume. He's seen going through like this person's going through boxes of files, but then he suddenly hides behind the desk chair as someone else walks in a black and white Harlequin costume.
Who we assume is
We assume
it's supposed to be
Priscilla.
Mike
Supposed to be Mike. We think it's Mike.
Oh, he thinks it's
because
Mike.
he's wearing a
Okay.
black and white Harlequin costume.
Okay.
And first of all, the hiding spot is the worst because he's not really hiding. He's basically just standing behind the office
No.
chair, and the person comes in so quickly, like would clearly see the person run behind the chair. It's insane how it would never work.
It's really stupid.
And so the person in the skeleton costume grabs a trophy off the shelf and bashes this other person in the face with it, knocking them out. Now we cut back to Laura, who's now tied up on a table, while fake Jeffrey pulls out a scimitar,
Yeah.
a fucking scimitar, and like starts gently running it like across Laura's body, which has been stripped down to her bra and panties,
Well, her little bikini.
or a bikini,
A little
yeah.
bikini,
swimsuit or
whatever.
something. Now, in the office, the skeleton removes his mask to reveal that it's Tom, who says to the unconscious body, "Say goodbye to your club, Michael." Obviously, thinking it's Mike
Oh, okay.
that he knocked out. But now we can basically assume that it's Priscilla he's knocked out because we've already seen, because we know that we're in the same costume. And Tom puts some files in a briefcase and he leaves. We cut to the male detective who's sitting at the juice bar, which has now been converted into a sushi bar where two Japanese men are cutting up fish. And first of all,
That's
Which is
pretty
the
fucking
best.
80s. That's
That-
pretty LA, New York
Oh, yeah,
80s.
totally.
It's like,
Fresh
sushi was the
sushi.
fucking
but get this.
thing.
the guy, one of the Japanese guys wearing shirts says Tommy Tang on it.
Yeah.
And that guy was famous. He was in L.A. He was a famous Thai food restaurant guy, not Japanese. He did Thai
Excellent.
food, but like, hey, you're Asian. You know, you do
Yeah.
some sushi. You do
All
some
right,
sushi.
Sure.
get some yeah.
Make some sushi
So-
for us.
Anyway, the cop asks like this woman dressed up in a bee outfit if she needs help.
It's what's her name? Darlene, right?
It's the
Is it Darla? I didn't think it was Darla.
Darla. I thought it was Darla.
No, it's not Darla. It's the chick that
The
was
juice
at
bar
the
chick?
juice bar.
Okay.
Who we didn't talk about this, but
She's
this chick
such a
had
minor character.
she had a minor character earlier where she was
plays a prank about getting her hand chopped up in the blender.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a tomato or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah, it's
she's
not
a smart
Darla.
ass. She's a smart ass in a bee costume.
Yeah.
She's super cute.
Darla actually, I think,
I'm just saying.
is fine.
Super
on
cute
this.
bee outfit.
Darla is done. Like
Yeah,
we don't see
her.
her.
She survives and she's done. But
I
Darla
kept
was
wanting
hot.
her to
I'm sorry,
come
Darla was
back.
really hot in this movie. But the bee girl is cute and sassy. And
Mm-hmm.
so the cop asks like, "Hey, do you need help with anything?" And I
Yeah,
guess
the male cop is so funny. He's there to work and like, but he's like, there's a lot
But
of hot
he's at a
chicks
party.
here.
Yeah.
He's out there for chicks.
Whee!
And
Yeah.
but the guy's like also like in his 50s or 60s. He's not a spring chicken anymore.
He doesn't give a fuck.
No. And so basically the bee girl's like playing bar back for the party, I guess, because
You know,
because he
she's the
takes as a
juice bar
box of-
chick, so
yeah.
why shouldn't she be
But
the
the
bartender?
cop takes like this big box of booze from her and walks off with
He's
it.
trying to get in.
Yeah.
He's trying to get
Yep.
in.
So now we cut to Tom, who's trying to get the blonde girl we saw drop off groceries earlier to come with him into the sauna. So he's trying to put some game down
oh
too.
man.
And back to Laura, who I'm sorry, if I was Tom and I just think I may have killed or knocked out a person in
And
the
I'm
same building,
stealing files.
I would
Probably
just
would
straight up
leave.
leave.
Probably
not-
wouldn't hang out at
yeah,
the party.
exactly.
No matter how great and kicking the party was, because
And
it
how-
was a kicking party.
It was a
I
kicking
mean,
party.
God.
And at the same time, it's like if you're gonna score with a girl, one of the last places I'm thinking about going to try and have sex in is a fucking sauna.
Yeah.
How horrible is that?
So
I mean,
terrible.
I mean, in theory, it might sound good,
No.
hot and slippery, but man, after
No.
about like 3 minutes,
No,
I'm
it's like the
"Ugh."
excuse of like it's just the excuse of like get you naked in the sauna. But yeah, having sex in the sauna would be
You couldn't touch the other person. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So we go back to Laura, and her captor removes the mask, revealed that it's Catherine, and Catherine says her, shocking me dead, or shocking something to see me dead, and your dead past coming back to haunt you, or something.
Haunt you.
It's some
You're
weird.
not
like-
reading those lines very good.
No, I think I mistyped it. So fuck it. So Catherine then flips a switch, and lights come on. And it turns out Laura's strapped into a tanning
A
bed,
tanning bed.
and
Those things were terrible in the 80s. You think
first
they're
of all,
bad now?
there's a
Ooh,
continuity error
shit.
here, because before the lights get switched, all the previous shots of Catherine toying with Laura tied up show Catherine on Laura's right side, like behind Catherine from
Yeah.
the camera. But now the tanning bed is shown pressed up against the wall
wall.
with Catherine on the left
Yeah.
side. There's no way Catherine could have been
When you
on the
mention
right
that
side.
now, I see it,
Well,
but yeah, I didn't think of it when I was
I
watching
was
it.
really confused because when it showed her tied up and she has that whole that scene where you just read those lines really in
Would
a
be really
crazy way.
shitty.
But
yeah.
but that's why I was like, where is she tied up? Like, where's
Exactly.
she tied up now? Because all of a sudden it seemed like it was like a totally different place. But you're
Yeah.
right, because
And
it
let's-
was a different place. They just didn't anticipate that
Exactly.
when filming it.
And I think I had this note later, but I'm just going to touch on it now. The tanning bed itself it looks like a warming table for a buffet with like a heat
Yeah.
lamp above it.
It doesn't
Yeah.
close.
It doesn't. It seriously. It looks like you go to a buffet and there's like a heat lamp above it. Like you see it anywhere. Like
It's so weird.
yeah.
I didn't
It's so
start tanning
weird.
until the 90s, so I can't say. I can't say about
still
that
tan?
technology. No, I
Yeah.
haven't tanned in like years and years.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
terrible
I-
for you.
I've gone tanning twice in my life, and each time I came out looking like a barber pole.
You feel like a fried egg. It's terrible.
I don't understand how this became hip. I
It's
just
not.
don't.
I know.
So Mike is walking through the party
Things we
now,
do.
and he
Things we
hears
do.
the computer speaking to him, and says that the resistance is set to maximum.
Maximum.
What does that mean?
So it's like
Resistance is
yeah, all
set to
machines have been
maximum,
set to turn on or
Michael.
something. Yeah, I don't know.
Like
So
resistance is futile.
yeah, exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
Just
Yeah.
shoot the Borg.
Yeah.
So Mike rushes out to control room to shut it down, and he also finds Jerry's pirate costume
This is weird.
hanging in a locker.
How is this?
So how did it
Why?
get there?
Why? Why is it hanging up?
I thought she was wearing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Catherine was wearing it in the tanning bedroom, but now it's back here in a locker room.
I'm so confused by Jeffrey's death and then the stripping of the costume and then
Now it's
having
back.
it
Now it's
neatly
hanging
hung up.
Yeah,
What?
very neatly impressed, hung up, And then we pan over and we
And
see
the computer pulls like the Shining moment because it causes the printer to start printing out page after page, but instead of reading "all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy," it reads "Michael, I miss you," like
Michael, I
over
miss
and
you.
over and over
Yeah.
and over and over again.
Michael. Sorry.
So Mike finds Jeffrey's dead body sitting in a chair
Face
in that
crushed.
little side
Oh,
room,
man.
and his face isn't just crushed, but it's like
It's
Twisted.
weird
it
and
looks like
distorted.
if it was like made of Play-Doh, and you just like ran your fingers through Play-Doh
Yeah.
and like gave it a little twist. It's
Kinda
really
like
weird
blue.
looking.
Yeah, it's like a
blue now.
discolored.
it's not a bad effect.
Yeah, but it just doesn't.
Eh.
Anatomically, it just
Yeah.
doesn't
Meh.
match up. But it's So Catherine appears at the control console, and she welcomes Mike to the party. And Mike walks up asking her, "Where's Laura?" Catherine points and says she's working on her tan, and she warns him that with one flick of a button, and Laura's fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
And she also tells him that she's lonely, that she wants him to be with her. And Catherine goes on to say that killing yourself isn't that hard, and that you would be saving all of your friends because she will destroy this place and kill them all unless he does what she says.
So essentially, it's like I'm gonna kill all these people, or you come with me.
Yeah.
And what does he do?
He
Nah.
goes only. Oh wait, I
No,
keep
go
jumping.
for it.
I
Go
keep
for it.
jumping ahead and like
Um,
revealing things I shouldn't reveal. So maybe I should wait.
So
He doesn't seem too keen on this idea.
No.
No, he's like,
kind of a dick
I don't,
thing to
I
do,
don't want
you
to do
know?
it.
there's a very,
He
very
doesn't want to die. He likes to live.
fast
He has a good life.
cutaway of Laura, and then back to Mike, who is now at the keyboard trying to shut
is
the
terrible.
system down. And Catherine then throws him across the room where he hits
terrible
the
editing.
wall. Yeah, it's awful editing.
This whole
And
movie is awful. editing.
Yeah, but
He's
this
knocked
is,
out
this is
cold.
particularly really, really sketchy. Like just the transition is just
so quick.
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
Just
And
yeah.
now we go back to Tom, who's managed to get the blonde girl into the sauna with him. The girl's
Hey,
stretched out
she's all
naked
naked.
on her back,
Go Tom.
and they start making out. But suddenly,
What happened?
suddenly Tom's head, as they're kissing, Tom's head just
What happened?
breaks apart.
Is he impaled?
It doesn't explode.
Does it
Nothing hits him.
blow
His
up?
face just
It
breaks
just falls apart.
I didn't
And
get
then
it. I thought I looked down.
All over.
I rewound it, and I was like, "Did I miss
No,
something?
no.
Did I miss something
What? Is
happening?"
it a board? What
No,
is
it just breaks open
Just-
on its own.
Just spontaneously
He
burst,
bursts, and you see like a skull fragment hanging out here. And
Okay,
another
I
part
thought that
lower.
fragment. I thought that was maybe
Like his
something
eye
that
socket,
came
like
through.
I thought the
eye
same
socket.
thing. I thought it was something came and hit him from behind.
No,
but
it
no,
just
it just
pops
his
open.
head just.
Oh, that makes it worse. And then something like chili comes out.
I'm laughing out loud because at this point, pus and brain matter are dripping out onto
Or
the
chili.
floor.
where it's like
Chili.
sizzling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Catherine is just seen laughing at the monitor. She's like, and the woman is screaming in the sauna as the sauna itself begins to break apart.
Yeah,
like the wooden
boards,
Yeah, the
wood
boards are
panelings are coming
flying,
off the
yeah.
walls. Mike
Oh
wakes
God,
up.
it's so funny.
This is where it gets great.
This is where it gets really fucking weird because Mike wakes up and sees David wearing Catherine's clothing sitting at the control panel.
Yeah.
And when Mike speaks to David, David acts like he can't hear him at all. And things get really fucking weird because there's a shot of David's face superimposed with Catherine's
Yeah.
face. David is screaming. Catherine's not. And the background looks like something from a Tron movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And after we see after we see Catherine holding her head as she falls out of the chair and squirms around the floor saying, "No, you have to go the way I did, and if you don't, you're gonna go watch Laura burn," or something
So
like that.
it's kind of like, I guess the impression they're trying to portray is that she has been possessed David's body.
It's so weird. Like,
See, I took it from that's what I guess I just assumed that all along.
But
and so I
people
never
see Catherine.
and
Yeah.
see David. I know
Yeah,
you look
so-
at it's at Catherine, so it's like the body. Okay, because
I think
first of
I
all,
got
Mike-
what they were
Mike-
trying to do.
Mike agrees to this and says he has to let
Terrible.
Laura go
He's better
first.
than I am.
But Catherine is
Yeah.
upset by this and cries, saying that you would kill yourself for her. You love her more.
You would kill her. You would
Mike
kill
yells out,
her.
"David, fight back!" And
Yeah.
Catherine has now turned back into David. And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening in this
There's
movie?
a lot of
Because
Yeah. bad sound
like
effects.
sound
Yeah.
effects going
David
on.
slash Catherine are rolling around on the floor,
Yeah.
and each time they roll back to the camera, it switches between David's face and Catherine's face.
Depending on which side the camera, which side that she rolls or he rolls.
And
yeah.
Catherine then seems to win in control of the body, and Mike basically says, "Fuck this, I'm out," and takes off running.
Yep.
Which at this point I think is the most prudent move
Yeah,
to make.
good
be
Yeah,
made
move.
at this
right.
point.
Good
no
move.
one else did that. Why didn't anyone
And
else
I'm just
do
surprised
that?
it took him this long to finally
Right.
say, "I'm out of here."
So he
out.
goes running to go save.
He
Laura.
runs to the tanning
Laura.
room.
Yeah, he runs to
where
the tanning room.
This is awesome.
Instead
God.
of opening the door, he runs and
He tried to
jumps
open it.
through the
He
door.
tries to open
He
it.
works in a gym. There are weights and things. Grab a weight and
So he,
throw it.
he tries to
through-
open the door. It's locked. Okay, go find something to break in the door.
What?
Nope. I got
No.
I got a body.
Doo-doo-doo.
Throws himself through the glass door.
Through the double
And
glass doors.
Head first.
Mind you,
Head
there's
first.
there's a huge party going on all around him.
Nobody seems to notice
No,
this.
one
nobody knows what's
sees
going
a
on at
man
all.
Jump through a
And
glass.
if they see it, they don't
care.
They're
They don't
just
care.
dancing
Zero
and
fucks.
drinking, keep the party going. So he gets to unties Laura, who's
God.
unconscious now.
And you can see people partying on the
On
other
the other,
side.
I know, on
don't
the other
care.
side of the door, there are
They
people
don't
just
care.
dancing and partying. And so Catherine then, oh my god,
Catherine
Mike
appears.
gives Laura a mouth to mouth as Catherine enters the room. Catherine offers her hand to Mike, saying, "Now is your chance. Let's die together and live,
Live
forever,
forever.
in
In
hell."
hell.
In hell.
Yeah, that sounds fucking awesome. I mean, when you put it that way, what's Mike waiting for? Like,
I really
why
want to do
not?
that. Yeah.
What was I thinking
Yeah.
all this time?
So, and we also talked about how everybody's on the other side dancing.
Yeah, no one's
Nobody
paying
pays attention to
Partying,
this.
having a good time.
So that is until Marvin
Yeah.
runs in and
Uh-huh.
grabs Catherine, but she just
From
tosses Marvin.
It's so awesome. He bear
It's like a
hugs
bear
her.
hug from behind.
And mind you, Marvin's a big dude.
Big guy.
Yeah,
He's
he's
easily
like
over
a
6 feet
basketball
tall.
player. Yeah.
And he's a muscular guy. He's bear hugging this tiny little woman.
And Catherine just tosses Marvin through
Through
a glass
another-
wall.
Oh my
Through a
God.
glass wall of the
he
tanning
goes
room.
smashing into the party.
Out into the party. He lands at the feet of people dancing. Or some of them like, oh.
They're like, oh,
okay.
is he okay? Whoa.
And then they just keep on going.
Yeah.
Like, again,
But
people
nobody
just-
else, nobody's really, questioning what's
It's like,
happening.
whoa, hey,
Nobody's
you
like,
okay,
what's
buddy?
happening?
But no one goes to check.
Nobody goes-
where,
Exactly.
why Marvin, the biggest guy in the whole club, got thrown through a
Yep.
glass window.
They don't even look in to see what they're
like,
just
what
like
the
looking
fuck
at.
happened?
All right.
No.
They're just like, meh.
So Catherine walks off saying everyone's gonna die as
That
Mike
was
tries.
pretty good, I thought. She walks out and then the music gets intense and she's like,
Yeah.
everyone here is going to die.
die.
Ah,
Is
and
she
I
Back
wrote
in the
down,
control room here.
No, and Mike's trying to pick up
No.
Laura. He's trying to pick up
Yeah.
a limp Laura.
she's
and
trying to, yeah.
we cut to more people still dancing, drinking, enjoying
Sorry,
the party.
shit got
Partying.
really good at this point.
Yeah,
I felt
this-
like it really,
Yeah.
really
It's-
started to get
amazing. So the girl dressed as the bee says, "We're out of booze, but there's
good.
more in the
Hey,
aerobics
this is
room."
the best.
So the lieutenant, one of the cops, walks up to her. They chit chat. He flirts with her, and she's getting ready to make a smoothie in the blender.
She's like, he's like, these things are good,
Yeah.
but better if you add vodka. She's like,
So-
okay.
The blender
I
turns.
want to get you drunk.
So she puts
Yeah,
her
man,
hand
whatever.
into the blender.
Of
Like,
course. She
and
sticks it
it's-
right in there.
As soon as she puts her hand in there, the blender turns on,
Oh, it's awesome.
and she's bouncing off the walls, screaming
She can't get it off.
with her hand in the blender. They
Yes.
can't get the blender off. The cop leaps
Blood,
over the counter,
Blood.
tries to
More
get the
blood.
blender off her arm, but
They're
they can't.
screaming, they're yelling, and
He
this
is
scene goes on
screaming.
for like a
Yeah.
minute.
Oh my God, it's
a
awesome.
Blood
long
is
scene.
spraying
It's bleeding her
everywhere.
out.
Yeah.
She's totally bleeding out. And he's yelling things like, oh my God, it's unplugged. Come on. And he's yelling for help.
help.
He did really good.
He's
It was a
truly
really good
panicking.
scene.
Yeah.
He did
He's
really
doing a good
good.
job of
Yeah.
panicking. Whereas
He does a good
she's-
job in this scene, but
Yeah.
what happens
Yeah.
next, he does
Yeah.
not do such a good job. But, so yeah,
It's pretty believable right here, though.
so
It got
eventually,
intense.
the blender stops. She dies, and I guess again
And
from
he's
blood loss, I
distraught.
guess.
He was. He's like, oh my God, what? Oh my
Yeah.
God, what?
And then
Yeah.
suddenly the metal cooler, walk-in cooler door behind him flies open. Smoke bursts out from the cooler. The cop's
so
like
great.
knocked forward into the counter. And then he's like hanging on because he's getting sucked,
sucked
into the walk-in
Sucked into the
cooler.
walk-in cooler.
And so he loses, flies in. The door slams closed behind him.
There are people, by the way, in that room with them in the doorway.
In
They
the
pan
shot,
out
yeah.
and they show it, and there are people in the door. Like, like he looks
Hey,
out, like,
that's
hey,
funny.
yeah. And there are people.
And in the
He's
walk-in,
now in the walk-in.
which, by the way, has cases of beer and champagne bottles, even though the B-girl just said they were out.
Right.
What a
There's
bitch.
no more
Filled-
booze back
Yeah,
here.
what kind of health club has a whole bunch of like Pepsi? I guess they're
I-
stocking for the
yeah.
party,
Well,
but
it's
whatever.
stock for the part. And so the bottles of champagne start popping on their own, spraying the cops.
B vitamins,
I was gonna
Supplements-
say, there's
everywhere.
pills
supplements,
everywhere, like
yeah,
some-
And
supplement
I
bottles,
do
pop,
love, I do
pills
love the
flying
cops
everywhere.
where Jack, he goes, "What the fuck?"
And
he says
you
it
hear-
so violently,
It's like one of the
just
first
like,
times
"What
you
the
hear that.
fuck? What the fuck?" I'm like,
And
"This
what
is great."
happens next might be the greatest moment
Oh my god.
I've ever seen in a movie. Because we see a dead fish because, of course, there's fish there for the sushi.
Yeah, it's the
The
sushi
fish-
fish.
oh, the
the
dead
dead
eels.
fish
They're
comes
eels.
back to life, growls at the cop.
Yeah, it comes to life. It looks at the cop. It like turns
It's on the
its
top
body,
shelf. The cop's like lay down on the ground.
and
He's
it's
on the
somehow suspended.
yeah,
And
hanging
it
off the
looks
shelf,
down at the cop and goes, "Rawr," and the cop's
and then leaps off the
shoots
shelf,
off like a bullet.
flies like 4 or 5 feet down to this cop,
Right for the jugular.
lands, bites
Right-
into the
Right
cop's
for the
neck,
jugular.
and the cop can't get up, and basically the fish kills them by
He
like
just
biting into his neck.
bleeds out. Again, another bleed out. There's so many of
And
those.
then
Like,
just blood just starts going.
blur,
It's
spurting.
even when the cop,
amazing.
and then the cop finally goes limp, and then
Dead.
there's still,
Yeah, there's like a
there's
lot
still
of
bubbling blood.
after spurt.
It's
Yeah, after
fucking-
spurts, after
It's,
awesome.
spurts.
it's so good. It's so
I think
good.
you said it was because I had some things like it looks like a bear. It looked like a barracuda to me, like, but it doesn't make sense because that's not a traditional Japanese.
Or I was
sushi
thinking
fish.
like an alligator gar.
yeah, again,
Yeah.
not Japanese
Yeah,
thing.
and
Like,
it's-
why
it's-
would they be serving barracuda
Yeah.
at a sushi place? That's not Japanese. But if it's eel, if it is an eel, that
It
makes
could be
sense.
eel.
It could have been eel.
It's fucking hilarious.
It was
It's
awesome.
oh god, it's so crazy. So we cut to the female cop who finds the unconscious body of Priscilla in the office. She wakes up Priscilla and it calls on the walkie-talkie for her partner, but she gets no response
Yeah, right.
because he's just been killed by a frozen fish. So Mike and Laura decide they have to go get to the power source, and the female cop is helping Priscilla through the dancing party goers and into the women's locker. The cop leaves her there to go find her partner. So I see Priscilla start cleaning herself up in the mirror, and the mirror itself starts to shake and move all weird. Like at times, it almost looks like it's water. Like it's all wavy.
Yeah, it's getting wavy and,
And then-
shaky.
I pause this again, and then Priscilla starts screaming, and she just fucking explodes.
Well, doesn't the mirror explode?
And from the way I looked at it, no, I just saw because it's a side
So-
shot of like a side angle. We see Priscilla standing there looking in the mirror, and we just see Priscilla explode.
This is so crazy.
See, I thought the mirror exploded because the way it looked like it's like the mirror was getting all wavy, like there was pressure
That's what I
behind
thought
it,
was gonna happen.
and then it exploded at her, which made her throat like go into complete bits. Like I thought that
see.
no.
I thought that's what was gonna happen, but for the way it shot, it just looked like she exploded.
It just looked like she
She just
exploded.
spontaneously explodes. I don't see the mirror fly out at her. Her whole torso just explodes.
It's
It's so awesome.
crazy. It's so funny because I like turned my head for 2 seconds thinking she'll be okay, she's getting cleaned up, and I turned back and boom, badoosh, she just blows up.
Again, I actually wrote it out. I'm laughing my ass off at this point. So I was like, I can't believe what's happening.
People come in at this point too. They're like, "Oh, we heard
Oh,
something.
and a few people like,
Something's going
I see the
on."
blood and they
Now
run.
people are starting to figure out shit's
Now
going
there's
down.
sheer effing panic.
So
Like,
now the roof of the spa is on fire for
Shit.
some
Yeah.
reason. It's just on
The
fire.
roof.
And now it says
The
Death
roof.
Spa.
And as Catherine commands the front doors to close and lock. And now the party goers start freaking out and they're scrambling to and fro. We jump.
The 5 other deaths before, whatever.
eh, not a big deal.
The naked woman in the sauna is now engulfed in flames. The sauna is just on fire completely. She's running around being burned alive.
Still naked.
Yeah, still
Yeah,
naked.
yeah.
Mike reaches the power box down in the basement, and I don't know what
I'm
really
so
happens
confused.
here
I am
because
so confused by this.
he tapes a bunch of live wires together, and
Oh.
then it looks like he jams them either against other wires or the sole of a shoe. Like I don't know what he's sticking
Is he
together.
electrocuting himself?
That's
is,
he
is
acts
it the
like it.
watch?
The sole of
Is
the
it the-
shoe is a a damper, is the rubber sole. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why you wear rubber soles, because it dampens electricity.
Yeah.
It grounds it.
Yeah.
So It makes no sense.
No, I have no idea what he's doing.
Because-
I was so confused by this.
He's
is
like,
what I
I'll
see.
show her fried chicken.
Yeah, he does
the
say
fuck?
that. I'll show her fried chicken.
God damn it. So he grabs 2 power lines, sticks them against the shoe.
Yeah.
Things
It's more
cheap.
than 2 power lines. It's like a wad, like a
She-
foot round of power cables.
Catherine somehow gets affected by this.
Yeah.
Somehow starts getting electrocuted
'Cause she's
while the
con-
partygoers are screaming and running for their lives.
'Cause she's
and the
connected
place
to
is
the
on
computer.
fire.
Yeah.
I don't know
I know.
what
And
the
this-
fuck is going
and this-
on.
yeah, exactly. And this is
David,
when-
is it Catherine?
Yeah, because exactly, like we see, it shows Catherine screaming as electricity is like flowing over her body, like I don't know, like Darth Vader in the Empire
Right.
Return of the Jedi, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
electric, and the control panel, the NASA control
They're all
panel,
blowing up.
explodes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Catherine erupts into flames. Mike collapses next
ironic.
to Laura out of breath.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's such chaotic cuts too. Like the editing, it's like you get the cut of Michael falling and Catherine getting electrocuted and partygoers on fire and people trying to get out. And,
They're trampling over dead bodies.
Yeah, yeah, that's
and like
gonna-
you
like,
see
it's
it.
just chaos.
Yeah, people, the spas continue to catch fire. People are running all over the place. And there's a series of shots of like various dead people. The crowd like smashed up against the front doors, asphyxiating
like
on
their
the smoke.
faces are
They're
smashed.
and the bodies, they showed bodies getting trampled over.
Yep.
And I would say that series of scenes I actually kind of like, because like that would be, I mean, that's like
Pure
the one
panic.
shot, like,
Yeah, it's
and, like,
panic, yeah.
Pure panic.
it's not very scary, but that movie, like that point, because like if I was like, I just felt like if I was trapped in there and you're fixating, like trying to get out, that's the one where I actually kind of felt like an actual
Horror.
emotion,
Scared,
scared in this movie. So it cuts back to Catherine now, who's basically just a burnt skeleton. But she's laughing maniacally as more explosions go off, and she finally dies again.
You think?
So Mike and Laura, you spoil everything. So Mike, Laura, and the female cop run into the control room doors, and
Can we say really quickly, when they run into the control room, the female cop, says one of the best lines I think of the whole movie. She shoots the doors and she goes, "Fuck this computer shit."
yeah, well, that's
Fuck
right.
it.
That's right. I say right here. Yeah,
What the
exactly.
hell happened?
Fuck this computer shit. Pulls out a gun, shoots the card reader, opening the locked control room doors.
Is Marvin with him at this time or
No,
no?
Marvin's
Okay,
not there.
good.
Right. Once inside, they find the burnt body of David / Catherine.
And they're just like,
Well,
oh,
it's
he's
like
burnt to a crisp.
Yeah,
and it
burnt-
is.
and
It's
it's
just like
burnt.
this burnt.
Burnt
Corpse.
skeleton corpse. The body snaps back to life, grabs Laura around the neck. Mike rips its arm off.
Rips its arm.
Rips the whole arm off.
Ridiculous.
And holds it like, what am I going to do with this thing?
And the best part, the female cop
Cop-
goes, wait.
Pulls out her gun, shoots the skeleton like 3 or 4 times right in the head, point blank range.
Stupid.
I love it. She's like, wait,
Stupid.
wait, and then boom,
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 boom.
boom, boom.
We're done here.
Now Marvin shows up, and they all exit.
With just wearing his boxers.
Yeah.
He just has his boxers on.
Yeah, what the hell?
Where did his clothes go? Last time we saw him, he was dressed like
Thrown through-
Alibaba.
yeah, he got
thrown
thrown
through
through
the
the
window.
window.
Now he's
Burned
just in
They
his
burned
boxers.
off his body.
He's
They burned
just
right
running
off.
around in his boxers.
Body.
So, yeah,
We
they
need
all
to see your
exit the
body.
spa as fire trucks are heard pulling up in the distance. But not without one more cut back to Catherine, who turns her head to the camera and says, "Nice try, Michael." And the charred, burnt skeleton begins to try to stand up and get up as the one remaining like white, bulbousy eye that they
What?
focus on explodes
What
in a
is
ball
that?
of pus and goo.
What
You
is
just hear
that?
Freeze frame, fade to black, credits.
Fuck
Holy
this
hell,
computer
what a
shit.
ride this movie
Jesus
is.
Fuck this computer
It
shit.
just
Fuck
when they run to the outside, when they smash the window and get outside while they're coming, it's Marvin, the lady cop, Michael, and Laura.
Yeah.
Laura.
And they all get out and they all just start
They
hugging.
hug.
Yeah.
They're
Right
all just
outside
like,
the
"All
door,
right."
though.
Of the
They don't
burning
move
building.
away from the bird. They're
No,
like, oh, we made
it's
it
like
out.
We stepped
Ah.
outside. Now it's time for a group hug.
Yeah.
And I think the true love story here, honestly, is Michael and Marvin.
It probably
I really think so.
Probably is.
Yeah, I think there's a true bromance going on there.
There's
Especially
something
if
to
he
be
lets him
learned,
kiss his
I'm sure.
girlfriend. Like, what's going on? That's really so weird in that
Right?
beginning when Laura and Marvin kiss. Like,
very-
what's going on there?
Yeah.
Now, during the credits, I just want to say there's an awesome song played during closing
Uh-huh.
credits called Killer Groove.
The-
And it's so '80s, but it's so awesome at the same time. It's all about like a serial killer going around killing people.
Lock your windows, lock your
Doors.
doors.
It's really a good song.
I turned it off as soon as it was over because I had to get over here. But yeah, it was Jesus.
But man,
Uh,
but yeah, it's so. Before we go into favorite kills, there's so much that
Get out
happens in this movie that okay, it's like you have the Ghost in the Machine type thing with Catherine in like sabotaging or controlling the spa and having the
Right.
spa kill people, but then you had Priscilla and Tom sabotaging things itself. But then you also had inanimate objects that aren't computer controlled,
Right.
like
What?
happening,
blowing up like acid
Yeah.
and things.
or the
and...
diving board.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
twisted.
like the
yeah.
computer can't unscrew nuts and
Right.
bolts.
So
Like,
very
it can't-
paranormal.
Doesn't
Shoot
control
tiles.
tiles off, and it can't. A computer's not going to bring back a dead fish.
But
It's like so there's like poltergeist type.
yeah, it's a
There's
whole
so
lot.
much. There's a lot going
And
on.
even just starting the first half hour of this movie, I remember watching it, and I even thought to myself, "This is going to be a long podcast because
Uh-huh.
there's a lot.
There
there's
is a lot to
so
talk
much
about.
shit happening,
Mhm.
and there's so much craziness.
yeah.
It's so awesome.
I will say there was a point about halfway through the movie where I was like, I was starting to lose faith. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we might not do this one. But then once I got to Dr. Mori's death scene, I was like, I'm in. I'm all in again. I'm back in it because
Yeah.
that was just like, nope.
Well, the blood sprays out like a hose. Like
Yeah.
it just fire hoses out of his arm, which is
All right.
fantastic.
On that note,
On that note, let's go into favorite kills.
Don't act like you didn't love it. Favorite kill?
So there were some awesome, just amazing kills in this movie.
Oh my God.
Guests and ladies first. Sarah, what is your favorite kill?
Okay, guys. This was really hard. I wrote, as I was going through and taking notes, I was like, oh, this is my favorite kill. And then a new one would come. I was like, no, this one's
they
my
just
favorite kill.
got better and better.
Okay, so I don't know if this is legal, if I can actually do this. And I have done it before where I've picked a combo of deaths as
Okay.
my favorite kill.
Okay.
But I have to say, because it just happened in tandem, but my favorite kills have to be the bee girl who got the hand stuck in the blender and then right behind her, the fish with the cup. And I mean, if I had to pick one, maybe I would pick, oh man, that's so, I don't know if I could pick one because I felt like it just went hand in hand. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, and
it just,
Oh!
but it was so drawn out, and the fact that she bled out of her hand, and the sheer panic that he had, and then followed by the comedic relief of the freaking eel to the jugular, which was very well done. That's that scene right there is my favorite.
Fair enough. I'll allow it. Aaron.
all right.
Thank you.
You know, I fucking love that as well. I thought that was really good, but kind of what helped set the tone was Dr. Laurie.
Yeah.
His hand exploding
explodes.
for no
Well, the
reason.
gun explodes, blowing his hand off.
That's
but yeah,
so
It doesn't make any
awesome.
sense.
Everything exploded.
And I know there's so much explosion, and when he gets thrown in the air like a fucking ragdoll, I just laughed.
Oh,
And
I
I
did
saw
too.
him fall down. His hand blows up.
Yep.
Throw it again. It was comical and just and kind of like you said when that scene happened, I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
mhm. Yep.
Plus, he had a dildo. He had like a
That was so
flashing
good.
dildo too. That's
I
one of the last things you're holding before you die is a flashing dildo. That's the way to go.
Wah.
for me, I'm torn between you two. Like those are the same two. I'm torn between the because Dr. Mori's just exploding gun. Everything you said was just like, oh my god, I was laughing so hard. But I'm torn between that and the fish. Like a goddamn frozen fish goes back to life. So I'm going frozen fish.
Yeah.
I gotta go frozen
Don't get
fish.
me wrong. That's fan
What makes
fucking
it even
It
better
was
is
great.
the fish growls.
Yeah.
Like,
It rips down and goes. Like it lets him know I'm gonna fuck you up, buddy.
Would you?
All right, so let's move on.
Ah.
Oh, let's move on to odds and ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
So, starting off with ratings, we have IMDb gives it a 5 out of 10. Sadly, there is no official tomato meter score on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
but it has a 25% audience score. And Amazon gives it a 3.8 out of 5. Next are plot keywords. And again, I would say this every day. I write these down before I watch the
Yeah.
movie. So, and there was like, I think at least 57 of them.
Dang.
So the ones I just wrote down: tied up in underwear,
Oh.
red panties.
Whoa.
Ex-
Red panties.
I think it was supposed to be Laura. She was wearing pink bikini bottoms.
Oh,
so I guess
yeah.
that's
No Jane Fonda?
exploding body
Yeah.
and severed face. So I was like,
There's a lot.
I don't know what really gets severed. That's what we're talking about. Tom's face just
Yeah.
magically like, breaks apart. Sadly, I did not see. I wish I would have seen, like, if I would have saw Death by Frozen Fish, I would have loved.
Oh
I
my
would have lost
God.
my shit there.
Killer fish.
Sushi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my plot keyword. is Death by Frozen Fish. So,
Yeah.
Trivia. Not a whole lot. Some of I already covered. But this was Merritt Buttrick's final film before he died,
Yeah.
March 17th, 1989.
Oh, poor butt tricks.
Yeah, he died at the age of 29.
Too many
He
butt
died.
tricks.
Gets,
Um,
yeah, that's-
Oh man, the naked women in the shower scene with the tiles, they were all models or porn actors,
Good for them.
and this
hence the large and
Yeah.
small tits, the diverse boobs, which I see as diversity. Body diversity.
oh yeah, a form of action is now just hiring girls with small boobs. So the original title of this movie and the title is released under in Europe was Witch Bitch.
Yeah, which bitch?
Which bitch?
Witch Bitch.
It was in German.
Huh.
In Germany.
So does that mean Catherine was supposed to be a witch? But
And a bitch.
well, I get the bitch
I
part.
get that part,
but
too.
There's nothing that really, like
Well,
leads
super-
her makes us
Yeah.
think she's a witch because we don't see her before she's alive. She's burned herself.
She just comes back out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. There's no like provoked reason for her to come back.
No, you're just very good.
She's just jealous.
There's no
She's just-
inciting
She's just-
incident.
Man, that's some powerful jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my woman kind of gets a little upset when I'm eyeballing a girl when I'm walking by, like, oh, it's a hot chick, But damn, if she's gonna be doing this from beyond the grave,
You in trouble.
just kill me now.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
live together in hell. Sorry.
So we had two people here. We get to play the budget game this week.
Yay! I suck at this game, but that's
Don't worry. So does Aaron.
It's now time to play everyone's favorite game, Guess the Budget.
so
So I've heard.
Yeah.
there we go.
This
What
is hard.
do you guys guess is the budget for Death Spa?
All right, I guess I'll go first. 1989. Oh, you have it written down. I'm not gonna look. So
I only wrote it down so I wouldn't.
all right, so
Get nervous.
1989. You didn't really have big names. You did have nice cars,
Yeah, the Porsche.
beautiful house,
Mhm.
porn
so different
stars.
sets.
For those of you obviously can't, this is the podcast you can see, but Aaron's sitting in his chair with his eyes closed, like he's.
I'm really-
I mean, he is deliberating hard on this.
I'm really trying here. I'm going to go ahead and say, but horror movies are usually a smaller budget. $2 million.
2 mil.
Ooh.
Okay, and
Oh
Sarah.
man. All right, so I know that Aaron typically overshoots, but now he's making me rethink because maybe I lowballed it because I agree. Like, there are some pretty good effects based on some of the other movies that I've watched here. And I think that some of the people that they had, I mean, they had a lot of actors that they could have condensed maybe into like fewer roles. So, lower, higher. Okay, you went 2 mil.
Went 2.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna
2
stick
million
with.
one.
No, I'm gonna stick with my low ball, and I'm gonna say 750,000.
Okay.
I couldn't decide between that or $1 million, but 750. Final answer.
Well, I think one of you might have cheated because we have an exact guess for this movie. One of you got it exactly right.
It's me.
The winner,
Is it?
Sarah Samples,
Seriously?
$750,000.
Where did you? To be honest,
Good job.
okay. Thank you. To be honest, on other movies that like I've just followed along with you guys, I've been able to find the budget pretty easily. And sometimes I've accidentally seen the budget on movies like, oh man. I could not. This was not easily findable.
No, it was
so
not.
I'm glad because I didn't want to peek, but I was
I
like,
found
oh,
it this morning because after I was doing all right, I didn't have it until I found another article and I got it and I was able to dig it up.
See, I was thinking about doing 1.2 million because that seems to be my go-to, but I'm like, hold on, I'm always a little. I've been short lately, so I thought I'd crank it up a notch.
So
Man, good, you nailed it. Nailed
That's
it.
awesome.
Do we have a prize?
Do I get a gym membership?
Yeah.
you get
Damn
3
it.
months. You get 3 months extended membership,
Yes.
but you have to meet me down the basement in order to cash
Ooh,
it.
I don't know if you want that deal, Sarah.
That's not very sexy, Marshall. I don't know about this. Draw me a crappy map. Sorry.
So that's it. We'll move into 5-star reviews.
These special movies have a place in these special people's hearts. 5-star reviews.
Now there were quite a bit of 5-star reviews for this, so I wrote some that I think were pretty funny. From Bebe. There's absolutely nothing like this movie. Yes,
Really?
it is a bit corny, but it is very funny. It has an excellent plot. Okay, now keep in mind, this whole next section is in parentheses. How many movies do you remember, misspelled, where a jealous deceased ex-wife comes back to haunt and torment any and anybody at a health spa through a computer system, no less? Close parentheses. That's a long parentheses.
That's true. Not a lot of movies like that.
If you are into 1980s horror with laughs and a little bit of nudity, then check this out.
A little
A
bit.
little bit.
Otherwise, this
Pretty
isn't
good
for
nudity,
you.
actually. If you really want to see some nice tits, you should
Yeah.
watch this movie.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like I said, otherwise this isn't for you. 5 stars. Now, from Javier Reynaldo.
Ooh.
If you've seen the cover of this movie and you still need to know more about it before seeing it, it's not for you. 5 stars.
Short and sweet. I like your Ronaldo.
Amazon customer. Just look at the title. Look at it. 3 exclamation points. 5 stars. Now from a J Reynolds, which made me go, because we just said Javier Reynaldo, and now we have a J Reynolds. So, This exemplary horror movie about the dead wife of a health spa owner who makes things unbearable for him and his clients was not rated, but it should have been rated R for gore and nudity. A fabulous film, lots of horror and gore and scares. Don't miss. 5 stars. Just a little fishy that it's same.
Yeah.
From Jake. This is the best movie I have ever seen.
Wow,
It
Jake.
is.
Get out, buddy.
Damn.
It is a little corny, but overall, the story plot is very interesting and very good. 5 stars. Last 2. From Death Spa Maniac.
Ooh, shh. That's your tag?
That's it right there.
That's his
Tagline?
name. No, that's just
That's his sign-on
That's his name. Yeah.
Wow.
This movie has improved the quality of life in my household and has set the bar higher for the standard in horror films. This movie has moved me in a way that a true love only could. I've given this movie
What?
5 stars because of its incredible acting, direction, and script.
He really liked the nudity, too.
I was
Yeah.
on the edge of my seat with excitement the whole time.
Oh,
a
I'm sure
must
he
own for
was.
every house in America. 5 stars.
God damn.
America.
Now that is a passion.
Yeah. And lastly, from Charles Flatt, I didn't think it was possible for a movie to be made this well. The cinematography and
God.
editing are amazing.
It's awful.
And talk about realistic. Wow. Not only the best horror movie of all time, but the best movie of all time. The only
Wow.
downside is that
Wow.
it's so well done that
Wow.
no other movie can compare. Sadly, I will never enjoy another movie as much as this one. 5 stars.
Oh, my God. Some people are so easy to please. I just don't even know what to...
God.
Yeah. So that that takes us to wrap it up with our final thoughts, final recommendations. We always let our guest Sarah. What are you gonna?
Okay, so I know what we were just, dissing all the people that really liked this movie. But I have to say that all in all, I thought it was kind of awesome. I mean, I think that compared to some of the other things that I've watched, they had a good use of dialogue. I didn't feel like there were a lot of scenes that were too unneeded you know, there wasn't that much script that wasn't needed or pertinent to the story. Like, and I got where they were going pretty much on everything, which is why I feel like I spoiled a lot of things for everybody. Because I think it was just really, like, you just kind of knew what was going on, although you didn't really know what was going on. I don't know. I like the effects, good kills, good number of kills. And the most questionable of things, of course, made me laugh the whole time. So, of course, so bad it's good.
So bad it's
If
good.
you can
from
make me
Sarah.
laugh like that,
Alright.
I'm in.
This movie this movie was so ridiculous, and I don't think I've ever laughed so hard during a podcast when we were talking about how he was trying to be sexy.
You were
with a
crying.
buttery
You were
asparagus,
crying
a
here.
limp, buttery asparagus.
Aaron
rubbing
shed
it-
tears.
Dude, I was crying. I think I almost got Sarah laughing too. I had to like hold it in. I had to like push it down. Like you're gonna
push it
break.
down deep. Push
you
it
gotta
down
push
deep.
it down deep. I'm starting to get teary eyed now talking about it because that was so stupid. It was so not sexy and just bizarre. Just that
Sexy,
scene by
Michael.
itself.
Not sexy.
Oh, and the exploding people, just the ridiculousness of it. I didn't. So bad it's good.
Yay!
Jesus Christ. It's so horrible. But
Which
fuck, I
is
had
so
such a good
awesome.
time watching it.
No.
That's all I can really say.
Yeah.
It's such a shitty movie, but it's so awesome.
For me, it was. I'm right there with you guys. Like at first, to me, it was a tale of two movies. Like the first half took a while to
Oh,
get going.
yeah.
It can be a slow build, but God, once you get to like the party, it's amazing. Yeah, every reason you guys just said. I'm not gonna. It's so bad, it's good.
So
this
bad it's
movie
good.
is it's so bad, but like you said, it's so entertaining
It's
to
so
watch.
good. Yeah.
Thank
you, guys.
You have
Thank
to go
you.
watch this movie and just
Get some friends together.
God,
Get
you will
drunk.
laugh
It's
so
worth
hard.
it. It's worth it.
Oh.
So,
And the effects aren't bad, you know?
No,
They're
it
just
really
fun,
isn't. It
you know,
really
it's-
isn't
it's-
bad.
whew,
But it's
this
bad.
I'm so glad I stumbled upon this movie.
Me
and
too.
This. Before we wrap up, did Chris have any thoughts on it?
Chris had no thoughts on it at all. I was like, so would you have anything, like some thoughts that I could like, use for the podcast? And he's like, no, I got nothing. And when I went, he watched the whole thing with me. And then when I went to, I had to watch it a second time. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start this again. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch it again. And he disappeared and he was upstairs. I was like, I can't take notes anymore. He's like, sorry, I can't do that again. Like once is enough. I was like, well, it wasn't that
Unfortunately, I guess
bad.
Chris would have said so bad it's scary, but
I don't know. To be honest, if he would have watched it again, come on. I mean,
But it's such
it
an
had everything.
such a bizarre extreme movie.
Yes.
Even watching
Yeah.
it twice, I don't think I could watch it again for a while.
No.
Like I need a break.
I
you
would
know?
say you guys have always invited me on when we watch like the craziest movie because it was like this and then Poultrygeist was like the first movie I watched. So keep them coming. I say keep them. I
right.
appreciate it. Just-
All right, with that said, we're going to wrap up for this week. Check out our Facebook page. You can also check out our website, horriblehorrorpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at So Bad It's Scary. We're also on Instagram at Horrible Horror Podcast. And then you can download and listen to the podcast at Podbean on horriblehorror.podbean.com. And, of course, subscribe, like 5 stars if you're feeling nice and, generous on iTunes as well.
Yeah, give us a review. Let us know what's going on.
yeah.
And if you have any comments, questions, if you want suggest any movies for us to review or watch, if you want to try to see if you can find a movie that will just absolutely destroy us emotionally and morally, feel free. We will take all
God.
submissions. You can email those through our website or Facebook page, or email us at sobaditsscary@gmail.com. So that's going to do it for us for this week. We'll be back later. In the meantime, Moon Goons, take care and watch more horror movies.
Woo!